That was one thing that like really bothered me on trail. So more often than not, it was me being like, yeah, Pat's hiked the CDT and the AT, like how cool. And then of course it instantly turned to, oh, so you're on your triple crown, how amazing. And I was constantly asked, well, how did you get dragged into this? I'm like, he's not carrying me. I'm walking myself up this trail. And I was often asked, oh, well, how much of the gear is he carrying? Is he carrying all the food? Like, what are you carrying?
Welcome to Backpacker Radio, presented by The Trek. I am your co-host, Zach Badger Davis. Sitting to my right is...
I am Juliana Chaunce, a.k.a. Chaunce.
Happy Christmas-ish.
Yay, Merry Christmas.
Are you feeling festive?
Happy holidays. I hope so.
Is your intensity for Christmas higher than it was in your pre-married life?
I feel like everything this year is just like at a stable medium. Like I feel like the post-wedding, like get back to everything in life phase is just more all-consuming, where like we're not setting up a tree or putting up any decorations or any of that this year.
No?
Well, we're traveling. We're going to his parents. We're going to my parents. We're coming back. So we're going to be gone for a lot of time. And then like as soon as I get back, I've got my sales kickoff for my job. And then we're going to Mexico. So it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
We were just gone for 2 weeks for Thanksgiving. Come back, set up a bunch of shit just to take it down. Which doesn't take away from my love of Christmas and the holidays. It's still there. It still shines a little light inside. It's just like prioritizing convenience.
Yeah, you don't want to waste efforts.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling festive. Every year that the kids get older, it feels better.
I feel like you're getting less grinchy.
Yeah, no, that's definitely accurate. Yeah, there was a strong probably 5 to 10 years where Christmas was fun for about 48 hours. And I'd say now we get like the full month experience.
Wow, you like it for the whole month now?
Seeing their excitement for it, like even little stuff, they all have their little chocolate advent calendars.
I love those.
And that's what fires them out of bed in the morning. In fact, we had to make a rule for Leo that he wasn't allowed out of bed until a certain time, which is like indicated by a light in his room anyways, because he's so excited for his chocolate in the morning. Even the twins lose their shit for their morning advent chocolate. So little stuff like that just makes it so much more fun. And we're going to go visit Santa here shortly. And I think this will be the first year that the twins won't cry meeting him, is the prediction.
Well, that would be good.
Yeah.
I remember I used to eat all my advent calendar chocolate and then close all the little tabs again so you wouldn't notice. And then the rest of the month I was just pissed.
Also,
I had no self-restraint.
I'm assuming your parents noticed that when you opened the little doors.
No, I'd have to fake it. Like they weren't like watching us open it. They were just like, oh, you can open yours today.
Got it.
Know?
Yeah.
So it sat in the same spot and they weren't like policing it. But
yeah.
As long as it looked like they were shut and hadn't been opened, I got away with it.
Yeah.
And then was sad every time I didn't have chocolate.
Very good.
Yeah.
Few reminders before we get to today's very girly conversation. First is, if you're taking on a long distance trek in 2026 and you are sharing your journey either via the written medium or video medium, we would love for you to apply to be either a trek vlogger and or blogger. Typically pick one, but we've had people who've done both. This grants you access to the Trek's community of thru-hikers. We'll fly one person out to join us here on Backpacker Radio, as we did with Stitches. That was a very good episode. You get 24/7 access to Jess's life and all the other good stuff. So if you're taking on a trek 2026, we'd love to work with you. Next is, let's do Trail Correspondence. If you want to be a part of our audio platform for sharing your thru-hike, this is a very popular podcast that gives listeners an intimate view into your journey and the life of thru-hiking. The application for Trail Correspondence is open and will only be open for another month or so. So if this sounds of interest, definitely don't sleep on this. Last, but certainly not least, is if you enjoy this podcast and you want to support your Cinnamon Connection pals and company, you can do so. Patreon.com/backpackerradio gets you every episode advertisement free. And also, what else?
Just like more us, more access to us, more us paying attention to what you're saying, feedback you're giving, little extra stuff from us. We have a moment at the end of this episode where the battery dies And so we recorded like the last 5 or so minutes on the video, and we'll probably put that part on YouTube, but we might also toss it on Patreon. Who knows? So that's where all our little extra bonuses go when we do them.
How about we just save that one for Patreon?
Sure.
A little tip of the cap to our
I don't know if that would be the best one too, actually, now that I'm thinking it through more, because we had started a topic over like girls that are good to follow. Like if you want to follow women outdoors to get more women outdoors in your feed, who should you follow? And we're just like info dumping names.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is best suited somewhere where people can see it on a grander scale.
Yeah.
But we have had some fun like pre-recording combos that we've caught on the camera that maybe we could do something with. Either way, when we test new ideas, we test it on Patreon first, and that's just like all a little bonus to the no ads thing. Don't you want to make it your New Year's resolution to go into 2026 ad-free? Get that time back. Now's your chance.
Yeah.
Oh, one last reminder also. Dad, if you're listening to this is a girl stuff episode. You know the rules. Stop. Turn it off. Don't listen to it. If you're in a different room and you hear my voice and you're downstairs at the table listening, go upstairs, turn this episode off. This one's not for you.
Jump to the segments.
Yeah. He's not going to do that.
No.
Just turn it off. Just wait for a different week. Please don't have me come there in 3 days and realize that you listened to this. It's going to make everyone bummed and weirded out.
Yeah.
So just don't listen to it. Press next, press stop, go outside.
Yeah.
So one more time, Dad, turn this off. Thank you.
Very good. And I guess, yeah, let's address that this one does end abruptly.
Yeah, it's going to end abruptly. The recording device that captures the audio ran out of battery, and I couldn't find any more. So, sorry. But it was still long.
They were sitting directly on top there. It took me 7 seconds.
I looked in both of those ones on the top one, and
Yeah.
I looked through that stuff over there, and then I went into your office.
Yeah.
No, I didn't go into your office. I'm sorry. That was a lie. I thought about it, but then I didn't do that. But I don't know. I was under pressure. There were 2 people looking at me. It was late. I panicked. So if they were in an obvious spot and I missed it, then yeah, that's my fault.
But you've been warned. This one ends abruptly, so we'll see you at the segments when that happens. But in the meantime, very happy to get the 4th edition of Girls Stuff. Do you guys do the proper intro on this one? Do we get to learn who everyone is?
God, you're asking me to go back in the memory bank. I asked them who they were. I asked them to tell me about them.
Good.
So they introed themselves, I think.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
We should also put like a little like disclaimer if you are triggered by eating conversations and topics along the lines of body image and eating. Maybe this one is one where you want to check the show notes and skip around to your comfort level, because we do get into that towards the end.
Very good. All right, let's get to today's conversation on Girl Stuff 4.0.
Hello, everyone. I am here in studio, sans Zach, with former guest Christine and new friend Maggie.
Hey.
Welcome, guys.
Yo.
I don't have a fancy bio written up for either of you, so I'm going to just put you both on the spot and have you give your quick elevator pitch of who you are, and then we're going to go from there. So who wants to start? Thanks, Christine.
Great. I'm Christine. Just a girl in the world. Thru-hiker, runner, a writer of books, now publisher of books. All about women things.
You want to name drop that book on the table?
Yeah, my new book, Blood, Sweat, Tears. Not that new. Came out last year. But yeah, it's a women's collection of hiking stories. So I brought you a copy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. Maggie?
Okay, hi, my name is Maggie, also a thru-hiker. I'm also an ICU nurse, a travel ICU nurse. I like a lot of weird things, and I don't know what my elevator speech is. So
Have you done any trails? Like, do you hike?
Oh, yeah, okay. So I have done the Ruby Crest Trail in a yo-yo. I have also done the Trans-Catalina Trail, the Tahoe Rim Trail, and the Pacific Crest Trail. And hopefully we're doing a lash of the Aurora in like 3 weeks.
What was the first one you said?
The Ruby Crest Trail.
What's that?
Okay, it is a like 30 to 45 mile. It's like debated how long it is. It is in the east. It's like on the east side of Nevada in the Ruby Mountains, and it is absolutely stunning. It ranges from everything from like very like Sierra-esque landscapes to very like high desert, traditional what you think of like mountains in Nevada. It was my first thru hike, I guess you could call it. I had no idea what I was doing. I left with 6 blisters.
Wait, you started the trail already having 6
No.
blisters?
I finished the trail with like 6 to 7 blisters
Oh, okay.
and a whole new appreciation for backpacking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that the first one you did?
Yeah, I guess if for like a like multi-night trip where you're like leaving one spot, hiking to another spot, and continuing on, I'd done some like very small overnight trips in like the Tahoe Basin, where pretty much you just like, hike out 4 to 5 miles, post up for a night or two, and then hike back. And I was at that point like backpacking with like a 70-liter Kelty pack that I got for Girl Scout camp when I was like 12. And then I met my now fiance, and he is very big into backpacking. We had met, and he had already done the AT and the CDT, and it was 2020, and we, as everyone, didn't have a lot to do, and California was really smoky, as it was in 2020, so we went and hiked out in Nevada, and it was amazing, and yeah,
Nice.
It has led me here.
Welcome.
Thank you. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. I love Girl Stuff episodes. They're really fun. It is fun when Zach's here for them because it's nice when you catch him not knowing something girly. That's just like comedic relief.
Like, what?
It's like
Yeah.
what was that TV show? It was like an MTV type TV show where the guy would just show stupid videos of things, and there was like a blonde girl that would just sit in the crowd and laugh.
Oh my
And
God.
like the camera would cut to her just to show her laugh, and then it would go back to the show.
Ridiculousness.
Yes.
Yes.
Did
It's
she
still.
have a role? I think she was literally just there to laugh.
I think she was like the comedic sidekick.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how I view Zach in these. So we miss you, Zach, but we're going to have a lot of fun without you.
You could just get a little piece of footage of him doing that from another episode and cut it in.
Oh my God, we
Yeah,
should.
and just like splice in his laugh.
Yeah, just like
or
a
like,
Zach laugh
that's
track.
weird.
We'll make him laugh at really inappropriate stuff too.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like this plan. So yeah, for the listener, this is our 4th Girl Stuff episode. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, man, this was a fantastic episode, these girls did so good. However, I wish they touched on this one specific thing. This is your notification that there are 3 previous Girl Stuff episodes. And so we're going to try to dig for some new stuff while touching on some things that we feel very passionately about. But if you don't find everything you need here and you haven't listened to 1 through 3, boy, are you in for a fun time because these things are kooky.
I'm so excited.
I know. And I feel like when you were giving your bio, you kind of led us to a great place to start, which is that you thru hike with your fiance.
Yes.
And he had done these 2 big trails prior to you and him coming together as one. And you had some takes on both managing friends on trail while hiking with a partner, and also just like how it feels hiking when your partner is finishing their Triple Crown and you're on your first trail.
Yeah.
You want to kick us off and
Yeah.
start down one of those?
I actually love talking about this. So my partner Patrick has hiked the AT in 2018, and then he hiked the Continental Divide Trail in 2019. We met fall of 2019, so he was like kind of fresh off the CDT, and I'm pretty sure our first conversation, I was thinking about this today, our very first conversation was he asked me we were sitting in our work break room, and he asked me what the zip code was, and of course I'm nosy, and I'm like, why? What are you ordering? I can see him like on his phone, and he was ordering a tarp tent from someone on like the ultralights subreddit for his he was gonna hike the PCT in 2020. He was gonna try to do like Sobo sub like 190 days or whatever, and obviously that didn't happen. So yeah, my like whole introduction to thru hiking was through Patrick, and while I'm very thankful for that, but we started off, I guess, let me try to think here, like our first trip was the Ruby Crest Trail in 2020, and I really didn't know anything. I'd been living in North Lake Tahoe at this point for 6 or 7 years, and so I thought I was very outdoorsy. And, I loved to day hike, and I had done some like very small one-night overnight trips, and, he was like, oh yeah, like let's go backpacking. So our very first trip was actually just one night on the PCT. to kind of like shake things out, I didn't really have a great pack. I didn't have a sleeping bag.
Nice.
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
Yeah, going into this,
That was your fiance.
I'm like going into this, I'm like, hey, I'm super outdoorsy.
I didn't know you were supposed to pack one of those.
Yeah. Well, okay, no, I didn't have a sleeping bag like planning this trip, and so I had to like acquire one from a friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I acquired the sleeping bag. I mean, and it was like probably like a 35-degree like car camping sleeping bag. Like he had to stuff it into his backpack to like make room for like all this stuff. So then I actually did a fundraiser for a nonprofit in 2020, and I wanted to hike 100 miles in the month of September. And so we found the Ruby Crest Trail, and he was like, okay, let's really kind of like, he showed me everything about thru hiking, and as much as it's like, it's kind of like weird to say that, I got introduced to thru hiking through him. He did show me kind of like the ropes. So fast forward, we do the Ruby Crest Trail. I leave with like a ton of blisters. I am trying to stuff all this stuff into the Gossamer Gear Kumo, which is like a 35-liter pack.
That's the pack you had?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did good researching.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did it in 4 days, 70 miles. We yo-yoed it. And he was like, okay, so here's the thing. You have one outfit. You have like 2 pairs of socks. You have your sleeping bag, obviously. And no sleep clothes. He was like an ultralight boy. Like his AT base weight was 6 pounds. So
how many pairs of underwear did you bring?
I wish I could remember, but to be honest, like I'm not a big underwear while hiking kind of lady.
Okay, nice.
I'm pretty
Double
sure.
night. I don't have a sleeping bag and I don't wear underwear.
I'm like, there's built-in underwear in all these shorts. They have like the line. I wear shorts with like the liner, or I wear the like spandex type shorts. I'm like, there's no point.
Yeah.
So anyway, fast forward, we do the Ruby Crest Trail. That was 2020. We learned a lot together as a couple. Like, of course, I think how every couple starts out, you are hiking like all day, every day together. You're sharing the tent, you're up all day together. And of course, I'm like having blisters. I've never hiked 20 miles in a day before. And here we are hiking 20 miles, huge elevation. So we quickly learned a lot from each other. And mind you, at this point, we'd only been together for like 5 months.
How did you handle your first 20-mile day? Like, were you demure about it?
No, not at all. I was really excited in the morning. I was like, and the trip was short enough that we had roughly planned our mileage like day to day. So I knew going into this day we were going to be hiking 20 miles. And yeah, it was a long day. Like this is September, so there's still like fair amount of daylight. We got into camp like in the dark. And so yeah, wow, that day was wild. My feet hurt so bad. What I learned on that trip is that my feet swell really bad. And I thought I had narrow feet. I do not. So like, my feet are hurting.
Always a crushing realization.
I thought I had these small, petite
little
feet.
I thought that too. The moment you realize you don't. Mine was going into the Sierra when I wanted Las Sportivas, and they didn't fit right. And the guy was like, "Your feet are too wide." And I was
funny.
Like, "Who, me? No, not you. Mean that girl? Not me."
That's really funny because I was wearing Las Sportivas.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I'm so petite. I have size 6 feet. Side note, I went into the PCT wearing a size 6.5, and I finished wearing an 8 wide.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah, I used to wear a 9 and make fun of my mom because she wore a 10. Now I'm like also wearing a 10.
Yeah. So
double digits. Nice.
I'm
That's
very
impressive.
tall. Yes.
Yeah. That's fair. So yeah, we finished this trail, and I learned a lot, and we quickly learned we need a bigger tent. We were using what were we using? It was like I think it's the Big Agnes Fly Creek, the one that zips in the front.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, he had bought it as like, for himself as one dude. A really funny story about this trip is literally night 1, we set up we get to camp and it's dark because my feet hurt and I already have a blister. And we've only hiked like 10 miles. And we get to camp and we eat and we're like, okay, finally we can go to bed. My brand new Thermarest somehow got a hole in it. And this man fixes it in the dark.
Turn on.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's really impressive. And there were 2 holes, and he found both of them in the dark.
Good at finding holes in the dark. Check. Next.
Yep. And then so that was 2020. 2022 was the year we hiked the Tahoe Rim Trail. And at this point, we had very much talked about like doing the PCT together. And this was kind of going to be our like shakedown trip. And you just learn, I think, on every hike with your significant other, like more and more, like what works for you guys, what doesn't work for you guys. But still, I will say at this point, we are hiking all day, every day together, side by side, or like, one in front of the other, all day together. And at the end of that trip, so that the Tahoe Rim Trail is about like 180 miles or something, we are slowly starting to realize maybe we don't need to hike all day together. So that next year we get to the PCT, and that I can talk about this in that length at some point, but what I truly realized in the desert of the PCT is we cannot hike together like during the day. Like we can, but mostly in the afternoon. Our hiking styles are just so different, and I'm 5'3" and he's 6 feet tall, so he can hike really fast, and he doesn't need, a breakfast break. He doesn't need an hour for lunch. He doesn't want to take, an hour break in the afternoon. I love to lounge while hiking. So yeah, we just found what worked for us over the course of like many trails. In terms of friendships, we never like met anyone on trail until we hiked the PCT together. There's like when we hiked the Ruby Crest Trail and the Tahoe Rim Trail, we kind of did it in like shoulder season a little bit. So there's like not as many people out there. And also those trails are so short that you're kind of just focused on like what you're doing, And I will say like it was a little harder than I thought to like make friends on trail. I think a lot of people see you when you're already like coupled up right away. Obviously, you're in this like very established relationship. And they're kind of like, oh, am I going to like fit in with like their itinerary, whereas people I don't think really realize that we're just down for like whatever, whereas, a single person and a single person can link up right away, but for some whatever reason with 2, it just seemed to be like a lot of people just kind of like not wrote us off. Like that's a really weird way to say it, but I noticed that a lot of people like would link up. This is like obviously in the desert would like link up right away. And I think a lot of it has to do with, there's 2 of us. And so having like 2 opinions on something versus just like one other person's opinion can be kind of hard. But I will say we made like some of the most incredible friends on the PCT. Like I think we're inviting 8 people from the PCT to our wedding.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying though, because we had at the start of the PCT there was a couple that we called the Australians, because
I love
group
that.
them together.
Yeah.
And for me, like if I had been hiking with a friend to start, but if I were hiking by myself, I feel like it would be easier for me to want to make friends with a couple that's also hiking with 2 other people than for just me to want to make plans with a couple, because then I feel like I'm turning the couple into a throuple, where I'm like, hey guys, where do you want to camp tonight? Like, hey guys, what's our plan for lunch? And like, you guys are a relationship, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just some, kid that came off the trail that's like, so what are we doing tonight?
So we had a throuple.
Did you? Like a sexual one?
No. But I'd be like, yeah, this is our throuple.
Yeah.
And we met him at right around mile 100, and we hiked over half the trail with him. His name is Parker, and we love him. He was just like so down. He was like, you're cool. I don't feel like, he never really felt like our third wheel.
Yeah.
And we had, as one with their trail family does, collaborate with each other on, where to camp or whatnot. I would say I was never in like a trail family that, all went on trail at the same time together, all ate lunch together. We kind of were just roughly like, hey, what do you think about 25 miles today? Yay? Nay? Yeah. And every kind of group we hiked with, we never were very in like a we were all very close, but if someone wanted to hike another couple miles, or if someone wanted to stay back, or if someone wanted to do their own thing in between like town stretches, that was totally fine. And it was like never really a big deal to us. Whereas I think I saw some couples like struggle with trying to, someone had like a really rigid plan and like trying to like amend it to be with like other people. And that's totally fine. I think I like to say like, there's a style of thru hiking for everyone and every couple.
Yeah.
So what kind of worked for Patrick and I may not work for you, but I do think what worked for us is the best.
Yeah.
So
you had also mentioned like receiving patronizing talk from people because it was your first long trail and it was his third. Can you walk us through that? And also, if that changed at any point, if the more experienced you got with the long distance hiking, the more that, I don't know, maybe ideally you felt things balance out where you were able to take the lead on decisions, or maybe not. Like how did that go as you got more experienced?
So that was one thing that like really bothered me on trail. So going into the PCT, Pat had already hiked the AT and the CDT, and he is not someone who is going to be shouting that from the rooftops. More often than not, it was me being like, yeah, Pat's hiked the CDT and the AT, like how cool. And then of course it instantly turned to, oh, so you're on your triple crown, how amazing. And I was constantly asked, well, how did you get dragged into this? And I was like, Pat, even a couple times, was like, this was her decision. Like, I went to him in 2021, and I remember this very clearly, and was like, I want to come hike the PCT with you. I'm miserable in my job. Being an ICU nurse in the pandemic was really hard. And I told everyone who would like kind of push back on me and be like, this was my decision. And I'm like, he's not carrying me. I'm walking myself up this trail. And I was often asked, oh, well, how much of the gear is he carrying? Is he carrying all the food? Like, what are you carrying? And I was like, A, why does it matter? I think you're jealous. You go find your own boyfriend to hike with. And B, if you must know, we carry all of our own things. The only things we share were the tent and our stove. We started off the trail with each of us carrying half the tent. We hiked with the Durston X-Mid 2, and he carried kind of the fly, and I carried like the inner mesh bathtub because they're detachable from each other. And then, I carried the stove, the pot, the fuel for it, and we thought it was like split pretty evenly amongst us. But yeah, that was really frustrating, and it was a lot in the desert. But I mean, even in Washington, I would get comments, of course you like meet new people, and it's always the same thing as like, how did you agree to this? Why are you doing this? He's on his triple crown. And one thing Patrick like very much made it clear to me, which I really appreciate, is that he's not hiking this trail to hike his triple crown. He's hiking this trail to have fun with me. And there were like definitely some moments where, as one does on a thru hike, you don't want to be out there. You're tired, your feet hurt, you're hungry, you're hormonal, you're on your period, whatever it may be, you snap at each other. And Patrick was like, if you're not having fun, we can go. And then I, of course, am like, but it's your triple crown. And he's like, I don't care about the triple crown. And so that was like really reassuring that he wanted to be out there with me. But it was very much, even though I had hiked, the Tahoe Rim Trail and the Ruby Crush Trail, and I am also so much more than all those things, I was for a long time like kind of glossed over. And it's Pat's triple crown. We could say the same thing to two people regarding, I don't know, using Luco tape for your blisters. And because he has hiked, the AT and the CDT, his word is, the truth. And that was really frustrating. The further and further on we got, it definitely like stopped. More often, it was a very, I would say, specific demographic of hiker. It typically was like an older man, especially the further on in the trail we got when talking about like, how did you get dragged into this? But yeah, it was definitely something really frustrating. And I think I usually just would try to stand up for myself. Patrick stood up for me a lot and was like, hey man, she's hiked, 900, 1,000 miles, 1,200 miles. Like, she's out here. This is her decision. She wants to do this. But yeah, it can be a little frustrating. It was definitely, I knew this was going to happen, like, going into it, but to see it, like, so frequently when we started was definitely jarring.
Yeah. That makes, I mean, sucks to say, but that does make sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you dealt with anything like that?
No, I was just sitting here thinking, like, I feel like there's so many women out on trail, like solo and in groups of women. And so, like, why, not that people don't give women a solo and women in groups also a hard time, but it's just interesting that it's like a slightly different hard time. Like, when you're by yourself, it's like, are you scared? Or like, why are you doing this? Or are you carrying a gun? Right? Like, it's all of those things. And when you're with a man, it's like, did you choose to do this? Are you like, are you being dragged out here? Right? Like, it's just, no matter what you do, like, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. I wonder if it's because we're spookier when we're in groups. Like, if I saw, like, if you're, like, objectively, you see a single woman on trail, okay, you could think all these things. You see 6 women on trail, like, hiking together, I'm thinking they're up to some witchy shit. You know, like, do I want to ask them questions that might tempt them? I don't know.
We would come up to, like, big groups of women, and I'd be like, girls! Hi! What are you doing? What's your name? And Patrick would just, like, slink off somewhere.
That was 100% my experience on the long trail. I hiked with Derek Lugo, and every girl that I saw was like, oh my gosh, let's be friends, blah, blah, blah. And Derek was like, I'll just be over here.
Yeah. You did that recently too, right?
It was last fall, yeah.
Oh, how was that?
Amazing.
I hate the long trail with a burning passion.
Oh, okay. It's on my maybe list, so talk me out of it.
It was on my not interested at all list, but Derek asked me if I wanted to go, and I was like, okay, like, that might be fun. But I mean, the long trail is notoriously difficult. And I will say, like, there's a couple of places that are really beautiful. There's a couple of really lovely views. Like, you stand on top of all of the 4,000-foot mountains in Vermont, so if that's on your list, cool. But really, it was like we had the best weather you could possibly ask for on the long trail, and I still had, like, a bad time. It was like, we got rained on once in Vermont, which is, absurd. It had been so dry, the mud, it wasn't even that muddy, but it was just, like, every single day was, like, 6,000 feet of climbing, and it's so steep, unnecessarily steep. Everything is, like, just grinding your calves. I fell down 3 times. Like, I hiked, like, thousands of miles. I fell on my ass. I had huge bruises on my ass from, like, falling on rocks. And I was just like, you climb up. There's, like, one day in particular, like, look at the elevation profile. It's just, like, up, down, up, down, up, down. And we get up to the top. Every single top was just trees. And then there was, like, a little sign that was, like, top, you know. And, like, this one is called Domey's Dome. If anybody has ever done the long trail, what a fucking dumb name for a thing.
I'm kind of into that.
You
Domey's
get to the
Dome.
top, and there's
Original.
just, like, a little wooden sign, like, nailed to a tree. It says Domey's Dome. You can't see anything in any direction. And you're like, I guess I'm at the top. And then you just go immediately back down. I could still, a year later, point to you on the elevation profile the 2 places on the long trail where there are switchbacks. Like,
Okay.
It's just, you know, and, like, yeah, Vermont's nice. We ate some cheese. It did not do it for me in any way.
You went in fall. Did you, like, get good leaves?
There were good leaves.
Okay.
Yes.
Sweet.
Okay, yes.
Obviously not, like, a good enough pro, but that's fine.
There's leaves in a lot of places. I don't know if you know.
Yeah. Hey, that's true. We are not
Apparently they're top tier in Vermont.
I was going to say we're not lacking leaves.
There was
this
beautiful
time of
maple
year.
leaves. That is very true. Yes.
Oh, we had a maple tree outside of where I live right now, and it's finally completely barren, but for, like, the week that it was red, it was so pretty.
It's gorgeous.
You and Derek are just, like, platonic friends, right?
Yes.
Or more?
Yes. No.
Okay. So, flip question, to go from Maggie talking about hiking with her fiance and that dynamic, how is it doing a trail that fucking sucks with someone that you don't have that comfort level of dating? Because I feel like if I were Maggie and the trail really sucks, or if it was me and I'm with Garrett, like,
You
I'm gonna
can
just
cry to your
fucking
boyfriend.
bitch. But if
Yeah.
I'm, like, with X name in hiking who asks me if I want to go do this hike, or however you two got involved in starting this trail together, see, shame on me for assuming he asked you. I am the problem too, but maybe you asked him. That I feel like is much harder to open up about the suck, maybe.
In some ways, yeah. I mean, there was definitely, like, a level of, like, veneer, right, that you're like trying to hold up. And like Derek and I have known each other digitally for several years, and like we'd only met in person like 2 times at trail days, like previous years of trail days. And so we hadn't really hung out. We'd had like Zoom calls where we talked about like writing books and like doing, you know, like just like being social. And so, yeah, he had asked me, we had talked about several different trails, but he was like, we should do a trail together. Like, it'll be fun. And up until, I would say maybe like half of my hiking I've done like with someone versus just going out solo. And going with anyone is always, it's just a consideration of like so many factors that aren't like what I want to do, when I want to do it, the way I want to do it. And like everyone just leave me alone. Yeah. And so it was like, okay, like Derek had attempted the long trail before, got Giardia, and had to get, and like he was like, I was going to die at Giardia, like so bad. And so it was like a redemption thing for him. And so he was like, I like have to finish number 1. And he also had like a whole itinerary planned, because when he had done it before, he was doing it in partnership with the Green Mountain Club. And so they had basically written an itinerary for him to like do speaking events and like all this stuff. So he had like a spreadsheet that was like, this is what we're doing. And so there was like a level of intensity around the planning that perhaps it depends on the trail. Like sometimes I plan that intensely and sometimes I don't. And I do have a lot of dietary restrictions. So like I do have to ship my food. So I was like, cool, all the planning's done. Like I'll just send my stuff. Like that was kind of nice. And then once we got out there, I feel like the first like 2 weeks we were like, everything's great. We're having fun. We're taking all these dancing videos and like wearing glitter and just schmoozing everyone we met.
I saw
and, like,
one of those.
We were having a good time. Yeah. And then I had kind of a bad, and also I guess 2 things. Like the first 100 miles of the long trail is shared with the AT, and that's like cruisy. And then the second half of the long trail, when you leave the AT, it's like insane. Like and it changes immediately. A friend of mine had hiked it earlier in the summer and had texted me like, just wait till you get to the split off. And I was like, it can't be that. Like it's all the same trail. Like it can't be that crazy. And then we got to the split off and it's like literally like 5 minutes later, you're like, what the fuck is happening right now? And so that happened. And then I ate some food that did not agree with my body. And then I was having like bad chronic illness problems. And so I was like really fatigued and just struggling day to day, like really just, it was all I could do to like get through the miles. Yeah. And at that point, like my ability to be like fun to be around goes down pretty significantly. And so I was suffering and yeah, it's like if you're with someone who knows you really well and who has seen you in your worst ways, like you feel comfortable being that way. And when you're not, it's like, okay, like I'm doing what I can just to cope with my experience here. And like, I don't really want to like turn to this person for help or comfort or ask them to do things for me that I would be able to ask a partner to do. And so then it's like, it's almost harder than if you were just by yourself.
I think so.
Like I can be a fucking mess by myself and like whatever. Yeah. But yeah, when you're trying to like, gosh, it was like not only like our interactions, but also we're like creating content and like talking to everyone that we meet. And I was just like, I needed like not that. And so that did become kind of a challenge.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of masking.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. That's a great way to think of it. It's like, let me like
because especially with the content creation, like you have to put on a smile and like do the content.
Yeah. I bet Derek's got a bunch of really good videos of me like glowering because he would do the talking into the camera thing, like do like lives and stuff, and then he'd be like, "What's up, Christine?" and like show me, and I'd be like, don't turn the camera towards me, like I'm trying to pout over here.
Did you ever kind of like go off and do like your own thing for the day, or were you guys like together all day? I'm curious like how that dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely walked together quite a lot. There was, I would say the last like 3 or 4 days, I was so ready for the thing to be done. And so I really did the last couple days be like, I just need to be by myself. Like I really need to be alone. Like I'm on the verge of tears every second. I ran into a couple, it was probably the day before we finished. They were going southbound, so they had just started, and they were like fresh, like, you know, this big old backpacks. And they were like, oh my gosh, how was it? And like literally I started crying. As soon as, you know, when someone asks you how you're doing and you're like, not good.
Are you gonna cry?
Ominous, very ominous.
First question to ask someone.
I was like, I've literally never wanted something to end so much in my life, and they both just looked like horrified. And I was like, I'm sure you'll have a great time. Like, I have to leave.
That's like, I'll never forget the first guy we saw going northbound on the AT. The first southbounder we saw, it was right before we got to Moosalok. So, like, literally the end of the Whites, like the end of New Hampshire, all that shit. And it was like a rainy day. We're at the shelter, like we're setting up camp. Like the sun is setting, so it's like kind of dark and misty too with the rain. And this like shadowed figure just comes into camp, soaked, rain jacket soaked, like gaunt almost. And he's like, "Are there any more mountains?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Are the mountains done?" And I'm like, "Buddy, you got like 2,000 more miles. Like, what do you mean?"
What a question.
And he's like, "No, but these ones, are they done?" And I was like, "You did Moosalok. I think you're done. Like, you can rest. You got Pennsylvania. Like, you chill." And just, I don't know where he slept that night. He didn't sleep in the shelter. So just like the way he phrased that question was just like, for me going northbound was like, fuck, this guy has seen some shit.
His life has been forever altered.
I don't know where he is today. I don't know his name. I don't even know what his face looks like because it was dark. I'm like, man,
Just a wet rat.
I'll never forget
God.
just that figure standing there just like, are they done?
That is a wild question.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how to
Be like,
answer.
you could go home actually at any moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to be here.
You could be done right now.
Yeah. Well, that's what we'd say on the AT, like especially in the northern part. Once we had that solid trail family, was whenever one of us would bitch, we would say it's never too late to quit. So if one of us was complaining, it's like, you know, Christine, like it's not too late to quit. Like you could still quit if you want to. If you don't like it, you could quit. The town's right there. Don't you want to quit?
Oh my gosh. Well, and I started the long trail with like my knee had been giving me some problems. And so I told Derek, like, if my knee really blows up, like I have to get off. I can't like walk through that. And he was like, you better not quit. And by the end of the trail, I was
your excuse.
I was wearing knee braces on both knees. Oh my God. By the end. And I was like, oh my God, like I just need to stop walking. But I made it to the end because I said that I would not quit.
Hell
I was
yeah.
like,
Period.
yeah.
Did people that you passed think that you guys were a couple just because you were a guy and girl hiking together?
I feel like maybe we only got like an explicit like question once.
That's nice.
Yeah, that didn't feel like something that people were just like, so you guys fucking.
Anytime I've like hiked a significant amount of time with a guy on a trail, like people usually assume, but they're
I'm
also
sure they're
Yeah.
assuming,
But they're also
they didn't
usually
say
right.
anything.
So I don't know if like
Sure.
yeah.
Fair.
So okay, very cool. So that's stuff with people on trail for you. You had mentioned briefly when you were going through your response to chronic illness.
Yeah.
If someone hasn't listened to your episode with us, which they should, but if they haven't yet, can you walk us through what you mean there?
Yeah, so I have POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and that is under the umbrella term dysautonomia, which is dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system, which basically just means your autonomic nervous system does not work the way it should. And that can mean a million different things and present in a ton of different ways. But generally, POTS, like the symptoms are extremely high heart rate while exercising or just standing up straight. And then that sort of like trickles down to a bunch of other things. So I like breathe very hard. I have like respiratory difficulties. I also have like a misshapen rib cage. So like that doesn't really help with the respiratory thing.
Did a doctor just tell you that
cool.
one day? Like, hey.
You can just see it.
Oh,
like
okay.
my rib cage on the right side is concave.
Oh.
So like the ribs are all
So it goes like inward.
they're all bent inwards on the right side, so my lung doesn't have as much room to expand.
Solid.
It's super cool. And so yeah, so it's like high heart rate. Like when I got my diagnosis, which was only in 2020, even though I've had this my whole life, my doctor gave me like this little trifold pamphlet that was like, these are all the symptoms. And the last thing on the symptoms list was exercise intolerance, which I thought was hilarious. And I was like, this explains my entire life. So it's just, you know, out there, like the heart rate, the respiratory rate, like that means your body is like using more energy, burning more calories. So there's just a lot to like think about in terms of maintaining an ability to keep moving day to day. And then I have a lot of trouble with like hydration. One of the things they recommend for people with POTS is to consume 6,000 milligrams of salt a day.
Wow.
Which is triple the maximum that a normal person should get.
How many packets of Element is that?
It's a lot. When I got my diagnosis and they told me that, and also like these numbers are so arbitrary. Everybody's body is super different. So like they're like, take 6,000 milligrams of salt every day. And I'm like, I tried to do that. It made me ill. It made me very sick. But I went home and I like measured out 6,000 milligrams of salt into a bowl to like visualize how much salt that is.
Oh my God.
If
Disgusting.
you could compare it to like how they do with babies, where it's like your baby's the size of a peanut. It's now a melon. Like, wow, how much salt is that?
This is half an egg. like if you broke an eggshell in half and filled half of it with
So like
salt.
a golf ball?
Maybe, yeah.
Half an egg is such a weird
slightly
reach.
less. That was just the first thing that popped into my mind. I'm like picturing this salt. But yeah, it's an absurd amount of salt. And when I got the diagnosis, I was like, let me see how much salt I can consume in a day. And I was like adding salt to my smoothie. Like, how much salt can you put in a smoothie before it's undrinkable?
What's the answer?
Not as much as you would hope.
Less than half an egg?
Definitely not half an egg.
So if you're going to make a smoothie with salt, use less than half an egg of salt for your salt smoothie.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, I do carry salt stick chewable tablets with me, and then I do like Element, or I did liquid IV for a while, and things like that. And it's more of a like listening to your body thing than this like arbitrary number for sure. And it depends on what you're doing, and it depends on where you are and what the exertion and the sweating and all those things. But with POTS, you get things like excessive sweating is like one of the
It's so weird you said that. I was just thinking how
so
sweaty I am.
so ladylike.
And I don't want to take this jacket off because I didn't wear a bra. And my solution was, it's been cold, I'll just wear this jacket. But I'm sweating so much.
Just take
Well,
your top off.
I didn't wear the shirt that I wear for literally all of my events because I was wearing it 3 years ago when I did this interview. I was like, gotta wear a different shirt. But then I was like, am I gonna have huge pit stains at the end of this?
I think
maybe.
Oh, yeah, look.
Should we show our pit stains at the end?
Here, like, show you mine right now. Look at it. Is that plug for the
is it
YouTube?
not?
Yeah, you got it too. And is that jean?
This shirt is not ideal, I think, for
impressive.
public
It's not
speaking.
jean. It's just like a jean texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I wore a loose sweater.
And good color choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was preemptive.
Yeah.
I thought this out. I'm a very sweaty girl.
Great place to plug the YouTube if you want to see pit stains on all of us, and if you want to see like me and my ugly bob with pit stains and no bra, youtube.com/backpackerradio, girl stuff. So that's that. You mentioned that you had to send yourself packages on the long trail because you have specific food needs.
Yeah.
Does that have to do with the salt?
I mean, you can get salt pretty much anywhere, but I like gluten-free, dairy-free. I'm very sensitive to oils. Those are probably the main three things. So, but like being gluten-free and dairy-free and trying to shop at a gas station, it's not it.
I'm gluten-free. It's very hard.
Are you both gluten-free? I'm the only gluten one?
Yeah,
Wow.
I guess so.
I guess so.
That's crazy. Looking back and forth like this is also like really interesting.
We're teaming up on you.
The
We've
tables
switched
are
out
turning.
everything in your refrigerator at home.
I'm the guest now. What do you mail yourself then?
I shop mostly at Natural Grocers because Colorado girly. And I get, I eat the same thing every day like a psychopath. I eat rice ramen. It's made by Lotus Foods.
That sounds really good.
Are you familiar?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I consumed a lot of that on the PCT.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So I do that, and then I add wakame seaweed and freeze-dried veggies, miso paste. Miso paste is super good for getting a lot of salt in. And then sometimes tuna packets.
In that or
yeah,
near
in that.
In it?
in that. I did eat what was probably a very expired tuna packet that had been rambling around in my van for a year and a half and gave myself food poisoning.
Nice.
Luckily I was at a state park, but I was there for a speaking event. And it was right after I did a week on the AT, and I was like, I think I have Giardia, because I was like up puking my guts out all night.
Oh my God.
And then I was fine, like immediately afterwards, and I was like, it was probably the tuna.
Don't they have the expiration like printed very clearly across the front?
I bought them on clearance because they were about to expire.
So it's your fault.
It was 100% a choice that I made, yes. I'm cheap, so.
That's fair.
And, you know, sometimes you buy like 6 tuna packets on clearance, and you're not going to eat them until later.
And gluten-free food is very
Yes, sometimes you
expensive.
do.
Yes. So, so that's kind of like my dinner, and I have like an oatmeal routine for days, and then I do like protein shakes. And then there's like certain, like I eat a lot of Lara bars. I like Go Macro bars. Like there's certain brands of bars that are good and don't give me a bellyache.
We've got completely different taste palettes.
You're like, bleh.
I went to Natural Grocers once and got the ick. And I never went back. I was like, this place is way too healthy for like where I'm at in life right now.
Amazing. I used to work there, so I'm like a very
indoctrinated.
loyal.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I would like love to be that healthy on trail. I'm sure I would feel great doing it, but I can't eat the same thing every day.
It's also like if I eat, like literally what made me sick on the long trail was gummy bears. Oof. Like everybody else was eating gummy bears, and I was like, I used to be able to eat gummy bears, and I like bought some and ate them, and then I was sick for 6 days.
That sucks.
Where do they fall in the gluten dairy category?
They were gluten-free. They were the Albanese ones, which say gluten-free on the front, so I was like, I'll probably be fine. But the other thing about dysautonomia and like these type of chronic illnesses is like there's also just like amorphous other things, which are like didn't know that was going to make me sick, but it did. And sometimes like you can eat something for a while and then all of a sudden it makes you like, it's just like, I don't know what my body's doing. I don't know what this is.
That's fun. Oh, yeah.
Super,
who needs predictability?
super great. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
When you're trying to like hike 20 miles a day.
Yeah, but that in itself is, repetitive enough. Why not change what your stomach does throughout? Do you have consistency in your foods that you eat on trail being gluten-free?
No.
Okay.
So I have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I will say that I am more on like the gluten intolerant side. I don't have celiac. I don't have an allergy. It's more of just a lifestyle preference because it helps my PCOS. PCOS can cause a lot of inflammation in your body. And for some people, gluten, dairy, other type inflammatory foods can worsen the inflammation and make your symptoms worse and this whole myriad of like other things that come with PCOS. I have found that it's mostly just gluten for me. I have been like on again, off again, gluten-free, and I, leading up to the PCT, was very much in the middle of like figuring out my PCOS diagnosis and like what worked for me. And so I had only been gluten-free for like not even 5 months before I started the trail. But for me, what I had found is that if I just pre-planned the majority of my dinners, I could piece together food at like a gas station or a random grocery store in a small town. But I did a insane amount of research leading up to the trail. I'm not kidding. I looked at every single possible town we could have stopped in, and then I went on Google Maps and tried to find the grocery stores, and then looked at photos of the grocery stores.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you make phone calls?
I did not call anyone.
Okay.
I will say there was a girl who had hiked the PCT the year before me. I think she might have been a guest on the podcast.
What's her name?
Ariel.
Ariel what? Is she an artiste?
I don't think so. She does a lot of content creation. I think she lives in Aspen.
She has a baby now.
Yes.
She was going to be a guest.
Okay.
And then I think she realized we weren't going to Aspen.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. You're still welcome to come on, Ariel.
Yeah. So she, I had like followed her like vlogs because she was gluten-free, and I was like, oh, well, I'm also gluten-free. So she had made this spreadsheet, And I just like took that spreadsheet and went a little crazy with it. She put it up on the internet for like people to look at. So anyway, I like looked at anything that wasn't like a Safeway, I pretty much sent a box to. And I sent, I take like a bunch of supplements for my PCOS. A side effect of PCOS is facial hair growth.
Oh.
So
I was going to ask you about that if you didn't bring it up.
Wait, pause. Just because I missed this beginning part. What does this PCOS stand for?
Polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Okay.
Some countries call it polycystic ovarian disorder. I should know the difference between a syndrome and a disorder.
Sound the same to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so facial hair.
Yeah.
Tell us about yours.
Okay. So I can grow a pretty good like chin strap.
Shut up.
Yes.
Do you have any photos?
No, I will say I'm pretty embarrassed by it. I talk very openly about it and I joke about it, and it's something that I am like very comfortable with. But especially at that time, I was like mortified by it. And I had started noticing I was on a hormonal IUD birth control, and I had started noticing that, wow, I've gained like 15 pounds. And this was in like 2021. Wow, I've gained like 15 pounds in like a year, not changing my diet, not changing my exercise. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And then I started getting like a lot of like chin hair.
Is this before your diagnosis?
Before my diagnosis.
So you don't know why this is happening?
Yeah. And, of course, I work with primarily women. And they're like, yeah, Maggie, everyone gets a couple chin hairs. And I'm like, I don't have just a couple chin hairs. So what does every normal person do? I Dr. Google myself. I also, I taught myself how to wax my face. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How often would you have to wax your face?
I have to wax my, probably every, like, once a week.
Oh, currently still?
Yeah. So it never goes away. The facial hair will be there forever.
Do you stubble if I look really close?
I shaved right before I came in.
She's like, not today.
Did you shave today? Oh yeah, girl. I knew I was gonna be on camera. And so I'm actually in the middle of electrolysis. Electrolysis is the only like FDA approved permanent hair loss solution. I have tried laser. It all grew back. What they don't tell you with laser is that you have to keep up with it. So even if you do like your 6 initial sessions, you have to go in for maintenance sessions to do laser. And it also depends on your skin color, your hair type. And I'm pretty pale and I have dark brown hair. So I am a pretty ideal candidate for it. But yeah, it all grew back. So I am like starting to, I think as like a lot of women in their 20s and probably 30s are like, oh, do I have something wrong with my hormones? I'm like, looking on Google and it's like PCOS. Of course, I think I read somewhere that I'm dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, sweet. So I am growing facial hair. So of course it means I'm dying.
I slept weird on my shoulder the other day and I had like a pain in the back of my shoulder and I was stupid and looked it up and it turns out I have kidney failure. So
your spleen could also be ruptured.
Thoughts and prayers with me at this time. Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. So I start waxing it. I start shaving it. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Are you telling your fiance about it?
Oh, yeah. We started dating in 2020. This is like early 2021. I'm like, hey, like something's going on. Like I don't really know what's going on. And I think I have probably had PCOS since I, went through puberty and all these things. However, in high school, I played 2 varsity sports. Like I was really active. I don't really remember ever having like a consistent period. People are like, oh yeah, mine comes every 28 days. I get my period on the 1st of every month. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I think a lot of people chalked it up to, oh, well, you are swimming and playing water polo. Like, of course you don't have an irregular period. Like, you are so active as like a 16, 17, 18-year-old.
Can we talk about how unhealthy it is to normalize having an irregular period to a 16-year-old because they're athletic?
Yeah.
Like if you don't have a period, you're probably not eating enough.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like that shouldn't be normalized. We shouldn't be like, it's totally fine. You're an athlete.
I also think like we grossly know a lot of stuff about our bodies, like without going out and looking it up on our own. Specifically because I don't go out and look it up on my own, and like starting to realize what other people know when they do is like, oh, like there's reasons for all this shit. Like yesterday I backspaced the text I was going to send to our hiker smut Instagram book club group.
I need to be a part of this book club immediately.
We'll chat after. But basically the text was, because I know some of them are like very in touch with like the phases of periods and like the luteal and the full something. That's not me.
Step into my office.
So yeah, yesterday I type out a text because I know based on now I'm tracking shit because eventually me and Garrett are going to want to have kids. And so I'm trying to track shit and like figure out if there is any sort of
that's great.
patterns before we want to try. And now that I'm tracking stuff, it's like, okay, my app's telling me that today's my ovulation day. Thank you. Congrats me. I'm ovulating. And so yesterday I cried like 5 times and I typed out this message to this chat that was just like, I like don't know where to send this question. So this is the void I'm going to throw it into. I thought the week before your period was when you cry all the time. And today all I'm doing is crying. Is there anything like that has to do with like where I ovulate and where I cry for the girls that know what these phases are? And then I sat there and I looked at the message and I'm like, this is fucking weird. And I backspaced it.
So we're bringing it here
So
right
I
now.
never sent it. But when you're talking about like things being irregular and shit, like I don't know the fuck shit about my where do we learn this stuff? Like, it wasn't in my American Girl doll book.
Nope. It was. Okay. Do you remember?
I know that book.
The two girls for you. Yeah, it's the two girls in the.
My mom gave me that book, and then my 2 best friends' moms also gave them that book, so the 3 of us would just sit there with that book.
Dude, that's the only knowledge I have.
Yeah.
And I used to hide it under my desk mat, too, because, like, I didn't want my mom to know that I was reading it.
Even though she gave it to you.
Yeah, it's like as if it's salacious.
She's like, look, Mom, I'm not looking at those cartoon boobs, okay?
Yeah, I don't need to see that cartoon vagina to know where mine is. It's right here. I know.
Yeah.
Now I'm sitting here like, when did we cry?
Literally. Yeah, so I mean, and granted, like, this was 10 years before I'm now trying to dig into this. So I'm like, did I have an irregular period? And then in, like, towards the end of college, I got a Mirena IUD, which completely stopped my period. So I just kind of, like, moved on and, like, never really thought. I got my IUD and was like, yeah, this is great. And then I think as I just got older, you know, even as you age through your 20s, like, your hormones do change in women. And so I think my body finally was just like trying to express, you know, what was really going on. So I was like, I need to get my IUD out. I need to figure out exactly what's going on. My IUD is like probably masking all these things. I will preface with that I am very pro birth control. I think there's a lot of misinformation about birth control and hormones and stuff like that online. And I do truly believe that it is like one of the greatest inventions of like modern medicine. There's a lot of like anti-birth control, and I don't want anyone to think that this is like where I'm coming from. This is just my experience. So I have an amazing OBGYN in Truckee, and we sat there and she was like, I can probably just diagnose you based on that you're growing facial hair. I came in with like full chin strap. It was like, look at this. And I was like, yeah, I've gained like 20 pounds in the last probably like year and a half. And granted, I was under a lot of stress at work, working as an ICU nurse in a pandemic. But I was like, I can't remember ever having a consistent period. Like even in college, I remember being like, was it supposed to happen? Like, and then it would just show up like a week later. And then, you know, I feel like the internet was very different in like 2012. And I never thought to like Google like how to track your period.
Useful information.
Yeah.
That's not what the internet's for.
I mean, listen, I didn't get an iPhone until I was like 20. So, and so anyway, I started having like this facial hair, this unexplained weight gain. I got my IUD out, and they say you should get your period like fairly quickly within getting your IUD out. And I did not get one for like over 90 days. And so my OBGYN was incredible, and she was like, I'll run whatever test you want me to. And so we ran basically like a full like reproductive type hormone panel, and mine came back, that I have like really high antimolar hormone, which is an indicator of like how many eggs you have, but if it's like off the charts high, it's more of an indicator that you have like a lot of like follicles that are being stimulated in your ovaries, which is an indicator of PCOS. And then I had like, my like free testosterone was like on the higher end of normal. It's like not uncommon for women with PCOS to have higher testosterone levels. And then you have this hormone called your sex binding hormone. And what that does is your sex binding hormone like latches on to like your free estrogen and your free testosterone and then pulls it into like where it should go at like a very basic level. And my sex binding hormone is really low.
I was just a quick interjection for anyone who missed it at the top. You are a travel nurse and you have a nursing background and are qualified to like speak to these medical things.
Yeah. I will also say I'm not your nurse. I'm not your doctor.
What?
I don't. Well, just like, you know, when I'm talking about, I just feel like I have to give a disclaimer that like I'm not giving like anyone medical advice. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No one should come to this podcast for like, but actually for some advice, yes. Like backpacking advice, sure.
Sure.
But we're not doctors.
Yeah.
At least you're not yet. But maybe you could be at some point.
Maybe.
A nurse is closer to a doctor than what I am.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So of course I start like reading all of these like journal articles and all these things about PCOS and like really trying to educate myself and like, should I go back on birth control? Should I not go back on birth control? And at the end of the day, like birth control is a great tool for someone who has PCOS. But I chose not to go back on birth control, and it has just been like, it kind of like how you're talking about, is so individualistic. You really just have to try to be in tune with your body, and sometimes that can be really hard. When I came off birth control and I gained another 20 pounds, and my facial hair got even worse, and I was having crazy irregular periods, and the withdrawal for me off birth control was really hard. And it was like really hard on my relationship because we're kind of still a newer couple. We'd been together for like a year at this point, and I was crazy.
Yeah. Dude, I fucking snapped when
Patrick,
I went off
when you listen to this,
too.
I love you so much. But it was really hard for me, and yeah, it was a wild experience. I look back on it and I'm like, I feel like I like blacked out like those months of 2021 where I was like coming off birth control, and like I felt so out of control of my own body.
Yeah, that makes
and
sense.
like your emotions.
My emotions were unreal.
Yeah.
Well, so for like when I started the PCT, which was my first long hike,
Yeah.
I know I'm a person who cannot keep up with a daily pill. And that's why, like, depression and anxiety are so unhinged for me.
Same.
Because they keep giving me medicine for them. And I'm like, cool, toss that in the drawer.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember for 5 days, and then I won't. And then I just, like, will block myself mentally from taking them every day. And then I'll spiral and get low and come back here, and we'll go through the song and dance again. And so for the PCT, I was like, I'm either just going to not take this shit, or I need to get something else because a daily pill won't work. And I did the noodle that they put in your arm.
Oh, okay.
The Nexplanon.
Nice.
And I kept that in pretty much until me and Garrett got engaged, because it's 3 years.
Yeah.
So it was 3 years, switch at 3 years. And then we got engaged, and I was like, look, like, as you can tell, like, kind of cuckoo bananas, very emotionally charged, like, not doing great at all times. Perhaps going off of this could help regulate what my body normally would do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, fuck, why not try?
Totally.
We're engaged now, so if a mistake happens, like,
It's okay.
I beat teen pregnancy and I beat like wedlock, so we're okay. So I did that, and dude, coming off of it, like the months transitioning were just
It's gnarly.
weird, right?
Yeah. There's like supplements apparently that you can take. I disregarded all of that.
I did take supplements when I went off, and it helped a lot.
Yeah.
What did you
Like
take?
it was Natural Factors makes a product called EstroSense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like would recommend.
Yeah.
For sure.
I would also recommend doing something like that because raw dogging it, not ideal.
Yeah, and it takes, I would say it still took 6 months for me to feel like I had like a normal like cycle situation that I could like observe and be like, oh yes, 30 days ago I felt like this and I feel like this again. Like that kind of consistency.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just been trial and error, and that was actually one thing that I was like very heavily focused on with my thru-hike was maintaining my cycle, trying to like be very like proactive in my like reproductive type health, like PCOS, I guess you could call it, on trail, which is really hard when all you want to do is eat like a raccoon.
Yeah.
You know, like all I want to get into town. I want a beer. I want a burger. I want junk food. And when you're on trail, I want chips. I want Oreos. I want cookies. I don't want to be prioritizing, you know, magnesium and protein and calcium and vitamin D.
Do you find that sugar affects your symptoms? I have heard that about PCOS. I have a couple of friends who have it. So
Yeah. Not really. Okay, I'm going to roll this back. So there's different types of PCOS. So the most common PCOS is insulin resistance, and that basically means that with people who have insulin resistant PCOS, you can be really affected by carbs and sugars, and all that kind of stuff. I don't feel necessarily really affected by it. I will say gluten is really one of the things that I feel the most affected by. I have, like I said, I've been like on and off gluten-free. I've been recently gluten-free again for the last like 3 months. And let me tell you, my cycle is 28 days on the dot. Yeah. I also take some supplements that really support. I take inositol. If you have PCOS, you definitely know what inositol is. I also take magnesium, bisglycinate, and I take like vitamin D and vitamin K, and those really seem to help. But yeah, cutting out gluten, my cycle went from like 32 to 36 days, which as long as your cycle is consistent, there's really like your cycle can be anywhere from like 26 to like 36, 38 days. And as long as it's consistent and you're ovulating, that's healthy. I think 28 days is obviously just an average, but yeah, cutting out gluten, and yeah, it was like, boom, 28 days. It's like real. I nerd out over this stuff. I get really excited by it. And I had 5 periods on the PCT. I got all 5. And then it got a little haywire there at the end.
Fair.
Yeah. I missed a period right after trail. I had lost like over 50 pounds. It was,
wow.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Here's my burning question. I'm heating up again. I got self-conscious, so I put it back on, but now I'm hot again. Here's my burning question.
Yeah. Lay it on.
When we do long hikes, a lot of the times the men who hike, due to lack of towns and time and stuff, will start to grow long beards from the beginning of a trail to the end of the trail. How do you maintain that on trail?
Like my facial hair?
Yeah. Like, are you letting it?
No. No.
Have you ever considered it?
No.
Oh, come on.
I know.
How do you take care of it?
I've gotten pretty. I mean, it definitely got long. Like, so I had a couple different ways that I kind of like maintained it. I will say, I think I'm probably like grossly over exaggerating when I'm like I have a full chin strap. But if you look at the bottom of your chin, I have like definitely a patch like right here. I have a patch like right here. Some stragglers like on my like neckline and my jaw. How I deal with it though is I kind of had a couple different methods. So I mailed myself like every 2 to 3 weeks these like little mailer packages that had like my supplements in them. I took like a greens powder on the PCT to help with micronutrients, to thinking that would like help support my hormones better. It also had these like dehydrated like towelettes, the Porta wipes. Are you guys familiar with those?
Yeah.
And it's an incredible invention. And then in that package, though, I put a razor. And so I shaved my legs the whole trail.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I've tried growing out my leg hair. It's just not for me. It was like, and I think because I have PCOS, my leg hair is like really dark and really coarse. And it grows everywhere. I didn't know that this was like not really normal. A lot of women don't really grow leg hair on the back of their legs. I grow a lot of hair
on the back of the thighs.
Yes.
Not the
Sorry.
calves.
Yes. Yeah. The back of your thigh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say mine has, probably because you sit all day. Well, not everyone sits all day, but I would think that maybe because I sit, there's less there. Never thought about it.
I have to shave the back of my upper thigh in like 3 different directions.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, I shaved my legs. I initially was like, oh, I'll just shave my legs with this. And then I would like shave my face with it, but then it started to like grow back. You know, it grows back after just a couple of days, as a beard does. And so I bought this thing. They sell them at like literally every Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid. It's called like Flawless Finish. And it's like this little circular razor for your face. And so I just carried that. I think at one point, I don't know what happened to it. I couldn't find it, or the batteries died or something. And so I also I carried tweezers and was like plucking my hair in town, which is just really uncomfortable when you have like a ton of facial hair to pluck. But the Flawless Finish like razor, highly recommend if you are someone who struggles with facial hair or any sort of like abnormal hair growth that you don't want on trail. And it's really small. It's like 2 or 3 inches long. And
Is it electric?
it's battery powered.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
you know how much it weighs?
No, I almost brought it with me.
In case
You're
the
like,
conversation
well,
went that
about
way.
this.
I had a feeling.
I mean, I feel like I'm gonna say the kids these days, like younger women are shaving like all of their like little baby hairs to put
Yeah.
makap on.
Yeah, they're dermaplaning.
dermaplaning.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So I feel like there's got to be a ton of products for that.
Yeah,
type
so
of
I've
stuff.
tried the dermaplane like razors, and they're really like, those are great. The dermaplane razors are like great for like, you could call it like peach fuzz type
Yeah.
hair.
Oh, they don't work on a coarser hair.
They do work on a coarser hair, but it's like no different than like using a razor for like your legs. So that's why I was like, I've like tried that. I have done everything you can think of for my facial hair. I have done laser. I was waxing it at home. Like I full on have like a little mini microwavable like hard wax pot that I would wax it off with. I have plucked it. I have shaved it. And I'm now doing electrolysis, and that's really decreased it, which is really great. But some people may not care to have it permanently removed. It's just like something that I think out of like all my PCOS symptom, even the weight gain, the facial hair has been like the hardest for me to adjust to. I don't know why, like I am like so confident in myself in like every other facet, but like something about a ton of hair on your chin just like really got to me.
Yeah,
Just
I
annoying.
can't say it wouldn't probably get to me either. Like, I mean, your face is the first thing people look at.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
It's so easy to be self-conscious about.
And I hate it. Like I recently got my engagement photos back, and it's like, even though I know I shaved that morning because I shaved, obviously I was like, well, I have big photos to take care of. It's like the first thing I'm looking at is like, can you see a shadow?
Checking for it.
And I'm like, you know, my face, some of these photos, my face is like, I'm like 30 feet from the camera. These aren't close-ups.
Your face is like this big.
Fun fact, we took our engagement photos on the PCT.
Aw, cute.
Yeah, on
You'll
Donner
have to show us
Summit.
them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Okay.
I mailed myself a razor. Like, I think the razor was like in every other package or every package. I don't know, just like the little 3-blade, like basically disposable Bic. And I bought like a pack of like 10.
Yeah.
You know, like I really mapped out exactly where I wanted like everything sent to, and it got a little tricky. So I hiked in 2023. I'm sure we all know that it's a very big snow year, and so I ended up flipping the Sierra, and as one does when there's a lot of snow, and so some of the stuff got like kind of, I had to like shuffle some stuff around. But yeah, for the most part, it worked out really well for me. I mean, it's not like I would never shave like on trail. It was only like a in between town, or I was only like in town kind of thing. And sometimes like I wouldn't do it. I'd be like tired. I'd forget. And so yeah, sure, it like grew out a little bit. Nobody said anything to me. You know, that would just be like insanely unhinged of someone.
I would say, why would you? Yeah.
And we, you know, I had dirt everywhere.
I'm
So,
sure no one probably
I
would
doubt anyone
dirt.
even noticed,
notice.
but
yeah, what's dirt, what's not.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was interesting. Like, I just remember being like so stressed out about managing like hair on the PCT, which is like just so interesting to like looking back on it, being like, that's like a really wild thing to be like hyper fixated on.
Yeah, especially when you're doing such a big and strenuous and like huge task overall, which is the PCT.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very eye-opening to point out that like, hey, something like that could be happening, and like I could still be focused on something so granular.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like a day-to-day life thing. It's
yeah. I will say, like, I truly believe through hiking, like, completely changed my PCOS for the better. They say with PCOS, like, you should do kind of like low impact activities. I think some of that is a little bit of bullshit. Like, I love lifting weights and doing a lot of high stress like type activities, and it doesn't trigger me, but it could trigger someone else. And so I had like a whole myriad. I had like a stress ulcer in my stomach going into the PCT. I had these like irregular periods. I had gained now probably like 40 pounds. Probably 40 pounds in the couple years leading up to the PCT. And through hiking changed a lot of that for me. And I'm like forever thankful for it. Like, I lost a lot of weight, which helped. I hate to say, like, losing weight does help, which that's like the first thing anyone is ever going to tell you is you need to lose weight. And it's really hard to hear that when you're like, this weight gain is so out of my control. Like, I eat really healthy. I was living in the mountains, so I was like constantly mountain biking and skiing and backpacking and hiking. And so for someone to be like, you need to lose weight, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I eat all my fruits and vegetables. Like, I don't go to Taco Bell. Like, sometimes I'll have a glass of wine or like have a beer, but I felt like I was really active.
Are you being told this in a medical way? Oh yeah. Or are you being told this in like a unsolicited opinions from peers?
No, none of my peers are really great, and no one is telling me, a lot of my friends were like, oh, you don't even look like you've gained any weight. And I'm like, that's really nice, but like, yeah. But no, this is like coming from like most like doctors, like even my OBGYN, she's incredible, and she ordered every test I wanted for me, and she really went over like the pros and cons of being on birth control and like PCOS, and she was like, the hardest thing I'm going to tell you is that losing weight will help your symptoms, and losing weight on the PCT did help my symptoms. And that just like leads into a whole myriad of like almost like body image stuff, which is another like whole can of worms we can open.
That's going to be the next can of worms we open. Yeah. I'm going to press pause on this real quick because I do have to use the potty.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll give us a quick little fiver before we hop into it. But I think that transitions perfectly because when we come back, I think the place that would be great to start from is starting from when you get off a trail. Yeah. And, yes, you've lost this weight on the trail. When I was on the PCT, I lost over 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And you get off the trail and it's great. And then you get this fear.
Yeah.
Of like,
and everyone's telling you, at least for me, everyone was telling me how good I looked.
Right.
It was the first thing.
Yeah.
Like, I finished the trail in Truckee, which is amazing because I got to finish at home. And so my friends, all of our friends had a massive party for us, like literally at the trailhead we finished at. And the first thing the majority of people tell you is like, wow, you look amazing. Wow, you look so skinny. And that is nothing against them. I think it's like, I was like stoked. I was like, yeah, I look great.
Yeah.
I look so good. I've always wanted to be this size.
Yeah.
And then it's the anxiety of like, well, now what?
Yeah.
I'm
going to hit pause on this quick. Yeah. If you are listening to this, I'll give a heads up here, and there will be notice in the show notes and probably in the captions and things. But if you are triggered by food conversation, weird disordered eating mindset conversation, anything around that stuff, that's going to be the direction we're going in this next part of the conversation. So if you want to avoid that, just check the show notes and you can see where we switch to a different topic. So, okay.
Did no one else have to use the bathroom? Me problem. I went right. Same. I get to you right before I left. Okay, so maybe I'll look into that. Do some Googling there. Maybe we're underhydrated. No, but 3 beverages in different, and I got a water. Maybe I'm overhydrated. I'm certainly sweating. I did notice in the bathroom my Christine arm is sweating more than my Maggie. So I don't know what that tells you. Is it sympathetic? I just rejoice that my Maggie is. Oh, so okay, fine. It's just me on this island. I'll keep my coat on. I'm just wearing my hair now as cover. rub it in. So can't do that anymore. But YouTube.com.
Do you have regrets about the trip?
No, because here's the thing. I think that the long hair like is very hard to upkeep, and I usually keep it in a ponytail, which is fine. Like hiking, whatever, lazy day to day while working, it's in a ponytail. But you always have it in a ponytail and it's that heavy, like it starts to break. Like little pieces will break, and then you've got these short little hairs on the top of your head that look a little crow's nesty if you're hyper fixating on them. And it's just like my hair's so thick, it takes so long to like dry after it's washed. And in the winter it's cold. And I always go through these, like whenever I want to cut my hair, this is a fun transition back, but whenever I want to cut my hair, I always go for the bob, because it's like you can cut off 6 inches and look decent, or you can cut off 10 and donate it and like to have something karmically good on your record and look like shit for a minute. And that's in our room. Yeah, I mean, it's great. Sure, Sam. So that's the route I've always gone. And every time I've done that I've been in a relationship, I've gotten broken up with it. Oh, because it's just, listen, I'm not saying that, like, I say it doesn't look good, and everyone's like, no, it looks good. Like, I'm not fishing here. I just, like, I know how I look with certain things. It's not my best look, and so quick for sure. Sorry, I just okay. So I've done the ugly winter. I'm fully embracing it, and I waited until I got married, so all those photos were out of the way, and
You can't break up with me now. So
it's like that's literally what I was
still together.
Well, he gives me a look. I think you'd look good with a bob, and I'm like, cool. Wait till we're married, and now I'm with Bob. I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, it's great.
So much confidence. Sure.
And it's so fast to shower. I look like shit every day, but like I don't spend a lot of time on anything. Everything's low effort right now. We're having a low effort, non-caring about appearance winter, and for me, that's nice. Work stressful enough. It's like whatever. And it grows back. So then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna have a caterpillar spring, where I'm going to have it a little longer, come out of my cocoon, and everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, she doesn't look like all the things I've been referring to myself as. I got full bangs, too. So lately I've like really been feeling like I have a Greta Thunberg. How do you say her name? Thunberg. My haircut looks like hers.
But I thought she had kind of like a long hair, kind of.
When we go to the front of it, let me go to
the straight cross bangs.
Yeah, Greta.
Right? I might be thinking of the wrong Thunberg. Hold on, let's go.
Yeah, she's got these big. I'm sorry, sound, does she? Yeah, there was also like a 14-year-old.
I haven't seen a recent photo of that.
That is how I feel I look right now. But not as, she looks like she showered there. Not the clean version, the dirty version.
That's gonna be my Halloween. Let's do the next.
So that's how I feel. But also, we went to eat at this Italian restaurant the other day, and there was like a 14-year-old busser running around with like that 14-year-old haircut where it's just kind of long, and he was a ginger, and like it also matched my haircut. So I've been comparing myself to a lot lately. None of it positive, but no, I don't regret the haircut. I don't remember where I was going with it. In terms of this conversation, where were we going with it?
We were going to talk about foods.
I know we were going to get there. All right. Well, if anyone else remembers the plot, sorry, I forgot it. So yeah, let's hop back in where we left off, which is, okay, trails are great when you go on them and like you get all this hiker muscle and you trim down and you go off the trail and you feel on yourself. And then sometimes less great, because the thing that people start to realize after they do a certain number of hikes is that it is impossible to maintain that level of physique when you're not doing that much work every day, all day.
Can we actually go start on trail? Because I think that is the conversation we're not having.
Sure.
We're talking about the after trail, because that is like so obvious. But I want to talk about disordered eating behaviors that are triggered by the on-trail experience.
So for me, there's just to reassemble the plot. For me, I view it as a circle. So for me, it's not like like if we're not starting after the fact by starting by the off trail. I know chronologically the on trail will come first, but for me the off trail goes back to an on trail. And I think
That's true if you're always hiking.
Yeah.
Not true if it's your first.
yes. And I'll go down your path. We'll start on trail, but the thought that I'll leave with before we toss it back to the trail part is I think a lot of people when they do their first trail realize that there might be more trails to come. And I think once you go through that first cycle of start the trail, hike, see your body transform, get off the trail, see your body transform, get back on the trail. For me, at least, the on-trail experience is even stronger the second time because you have the knowledge of the first time.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, let's start from on-trail.
Yeah. I mean, I think something that I have not really talked about, like in my writing and just what I'm like kind of just starting to get to where I want to like talk about this in public, is sort of like going way back. So like my first trail was the Appalachian Trail in 2015. And that was like back when the trek was still Appalachian Trials. And a lot of the content, I mean, I got introduced to the AT through White Blaze, which is like very passe now. But a lot of the content back then, and this content still does exist, is before and after photos. And I was a 24-year-old with 10 years deep on an eating disorder and had gained a lot of weight in college and was not active at all and was really like hating myself a lot. And one of the things that drew me into the idea of doing the AT was seeing those people before and after photos.
Okay, wait. Oh, no, sorry, finish it.
Yeah, I just think that the culture of sharing those photos is like a key in for a lot of people. And there's like every year there's always people who are like, I'm hiking the AT to lose weight. Right?
Yeah.
There are people who like say that very publicly. Often they are much larger people and they're going out there hoping to lose 100 pounds, 150 pounds, right? Like I was the same weight I am now 10 years later. Yeah. And I'm like, I need to lose 20 pounds. And there was just so much kind of leading up. And then there's also all this talk about, so right, there's this key in of like those photos and this idea of what's going to happen to you when you get out there. And then I think once you get out there, there's such a culture of obsession with food, which feels very at home for someone with an eating disorder. There is intense restriction and binge cycles because when you're on trail, you're eating very little. And when you get to town, you're eating 6,000 calories. And the way that people talk about food, it's almost like a group binge experience, which most of us with eating disorder have not experienced before. And that can be really triggering and difficult.
An asterisk there. Let's take a step back. What is your disorder of choice when it comes to eating?
I mean, I think everything except bulimia is just a symptom of anorexia in general.
So like, were you not bulimic or were you anorexic?
Anorexic.
I was the opposite. I was bulimic for like 5+ years. That's why I'm wondering. Because I'm wondering if the way that we view these things are going to be different coming from the type of fucked up relationships we had.
Yeah.
Because for me, with the bulimia, like that was like a high school starting thing.
Yeah.
But it was also like a very cheerleader thing. So we would have times where like we would intentionally all binge together.
Oh.
And then like a group purge. Like it was very like, oh, you don't know how to make yourself throw up? I'll show you type thing.
Were you guys both cheerleaders in high school? Apparently, yes.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah, okay. Were you? No. Yep.
Varsity, I was the anti-cheerleader.
I played water polo. And
yeah.
you and your water polo teammates share eating disorder.
So, in swimming, I think it is a lot more prevalent than in water polo. But it's more restriction. And we're swimming. We're in these like tiny little suits. You spend a lot of time in a locker room, swimming, and yeah, I never had like any sort of like, I guess, anorexia versus like bulimia type experience. I definitely like would have like, I'd come out of like practice and like binge all this food. And then I would like feel a little guilt, but I never was like went towards like restriction or anything like that. I was just really curious because I haven't really like, I don't have a lot of friends who are cheerleaders. So I was just very curious, like the fact that both of you were like,
yes, I'm cheerleaders and have like a history of disordered eating.
Yeah, for me, I just really wanted to fit in. But I'll also say, like, if you're listening, like, I don't think it's you're either anorexic or bulimic. Like, I'm like, which one are you? You know, it's not just that, or you're nothing. Like, there's body dysmorphia of all kinds. So it's not fit into one of our 2 boxes or go fuck yourself. Also, this is a fun place to remind my dad, if you're listening. This is a girl stuff episode. You're not allowed to be here. Please stop listening. And like, we don't need to relive this together. So just stop listening. Anyway, from there, yeah, absolutely everything you're saying. We're like things on trail that are so fun about like shit. You're just eating junk food the whole time. You get to town, you binge, you do all these things from a different mindset can be very difficult.
Yeah.
What part of the on trail, like what makes you want to start with talking about on trail? Where did that passion come from when you said that?
I just think that there is so much tied up in the culture of through hiking that can be very triggering to people. And I just don't feel like that is a conversation that we're having. A lot of people talk about post-trail depression. And I think also post-trail, like weight gain and those things like in synchronicity. And that's certainly a thing. I mean, I think also as I sort of like figured out my relationship to food and like tried to start healing, which wasn't until 2020, 2021. So it was like much after I became a thru hiker and I was using thru hiking as a vehicle to like hate myself and treat my body badly and doing that first. So it's like every hike that I've done has been a progression. So like on the AT, I'd very much heard like this, you can eat anything, like you can, like this kind of freedom that I'd never experienced. I've been restricting since I was like 6 and I don't remember a time when I wasn't thinking about eating less.
Yeah.
And the AT was the first time that I like gave myself permission to just eat. But also when you have restricted for that long and you give yourself permission to eat, it feels very out of control. And it like, there's still all of the thoughts and the shame. So it's like, yay, I can eat whatever I want. But like, I still feel guilty about it. I still like have all these judgments of myself. And so I didn't finish the AT, but I hiked 650 miles. I was out there for a little over 2 months. And I did not lose a single pound. Like my body was different. My body changed for sure. But I weighed the same when I finished as when I started. And I'm very upset about that. And that was a really hard thing for me to come home and be like, what was the point? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I obviously gained all these other things through hiking. And like that has become such a key part of my life. And like on some dirty, deep level, like it was about losing weight and hating my body. And like that was very much like in the core of why I wanted to go. There were other reasons, but that was like a very intense experience for me afterwards. Not like, oh my gosh, how am I going to stay so thin? But like, I didn't fucking lose a single pound. Yeah. And then when I went, so that was like 2015 and 2018, I hiked the Wonderland Trail. The Wonderland Trail doesn't really have like proper resupply. You have to send food. I very purposely really underpacked calories because I had gained weight since the AT, and I was like, I'm gonna starve myself on the Wonderland Trail and just like lose weight. It's only 100 miles, but like I was out there for 12 days and I think I was eating like 1,400 calories a day. And there were days when I was like nearly fainting. And I was like, oh, maybe I can eat like half of my granola bar from tomorrow so that I don't pass out today. Yeah. And then the Colorado Trail was in 2021, just 3 years later, which was after I had kind of been like, I'm going to be better. Like I want to heal and like not be treating myself so badly. And so, but I was still suffering. I don't know, have you heard of orthorexia?
No.
Yeah, it's like an obsession with health food.
Oh.
And so it's just another form of restriction.
Sure.
So when I went on like the Colorado Trail with my best friend who eats nothing but candy, I had just like, pressed fruit and nut bars. And like I had enough food, but it was all like really healthy, like organic-y, like fruits and nuts and things. And I'm like sitting watching her eat just like chocolates and caramels and fucking Sour Patch Kids. And like that really messed my brain up too. Right. So it's like it's been an evolution over the course of like sort of trying to figure out like what's the right thing. Mm-hmm. And also just all these little ways that are like disordered eating brains will like find their way in and be like, don't do that, do this, don't like you know, even within what's available to us.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a really fun conversation.
Yeah.
Because like take apart the part where it's not great, but like because it takes two to tango, and like we can bounce back and forth on this real easy. I can tell already. But also you're right. Like people don't usually have the conversation. So if both of us are sitting here and a lot of what you're saying sounds very familiar to me. How many other people have the same experience, right? It's interesting hearing you coming from a place of someone who started through hiking before quote unquote recovering. Because I'm coming from it as a place of quote unquote recovering prior to starting through hiking. And recovering is such a silly word because it's like anything can fucking trigger you. And like, and you never stop thinking about it.
That's it, right? Yeah. Is like, people think about eating disorder as a behavior pattern, but eating disorder is a mental disorder. And it's like, yes, I have gotten to a point now, 5 years into like trying to recover, where I don't treat my body badly anymore. Right? I fuel myself. I eat as much as I should. But do I still look at myself negatively in the mirror? Yes. Do I still eat some things and go like, I shouldn't have done that? Yes. Like the mental experience hasn't changed that much.
Yeah.
My actions have changed.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But like you live with, I don't think I will ever heal my thoughts.
No, I don't either. And that's like a very sad thought to have, where it's like, I guess I'm always going to be this fucked up. But like it does get better in terms of recognizing, hey, I'm coming up to a fork in this path. I can go down that side of the fork and spiral, or I can go down this side and avoid this thing that I know will take me to the spiral.
Yeah.
And I think being more conscious of those moments helps make better decisions to not put myself in a place that's going to be hard to come out of. But even like, for me, one of the hardest things when you're on trail is I don't get hiker hunger for like the first few weeks. Like if anything, when I start a long trail, I'm even less hungry. I didn't get hiker hunger for hundreds of miles.
Right. I think that's pretty common.
Yeah. But when you're dealing with someone who also has history of disordered eating, and you as a good friend is trying to look out for that, but also things that are perfectly normal, like not having hunger at the start of the trail happens. Yeah. Like there have been times when me and Zach have hiked together, and you'll notice that like I ate an apple and that was 3/4 of my day. And it's just, I'm not fucking hungry. Like I'll put things in my mouth to keep my mouth moving, but I'm just like, I'm so tired and sweaty and whatever that eating is making me sick right now. I don't want to do it. Like the apple is fine. This isn't coming from that place. But even just that, it's like someone notices what I've eaten. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, they noticed I only had the apple. So if I eat more, they'll know it, you know? Yeah. So it always draws back to something. But I do think that a lot of what you're saying is things that I've noticed even coming from years removed from it. Like I pretty much hit a point where it was like, if I'm going to go to college, this can't be something that happens because I can't live in a dorm like this. Like I can't eat a slice of apple and then sit there and feel regret over eating a slice of apple and go throw up. You just can't do that when you're sharing a bathroom at the door, right? So, and the college experience was 5-ish years before the thru-hiking, 7 years before the thru-hiking, so some time had passed. But what was so interesting is being at a place where my weight fluctuates all the time, where it's so hard to lose weight, where my thoughts are so obsessive around food. Like talk about people who don't have an internal monologue. Like how about people who just don't have an internal monologue that revolves around food?
Yeah.
Can we think about something else? Like what do normal people think about when they're not thinking thoughts? Like, you know, like actual thoughts.
Like a lot about food.
So all of that, when you come and you start hiking, I think for me, one of the things that was huge was I didn't realize I would lose weight on the PCT. Like I did what I called bulking season beforehand, where I just ate like shit and like didn't care, because I thought, you know, your body needs so much energy on the, you know, if anything, I'm gonna look the same after. And I lost 30-something pounds. And for me, it was like I've never looked like this since I got better from the eating disorder. And now, like you said, I'm coming home and everyone's saying, oh my God, you look so great, this and that, da da da. And then it just starts coming back on. And you're looking at it and like you're trying not to get fucked up again, but like the weight's coming back on. And the guilt. You know you're eating healthy, and you know you're going to the gym, and you know on paper everything you're doing is healthy, but then you keep fucking gaining weight. And like, how do you stop it? And like, my brain says the way to stop gaining weight is to just fucking throw up whatever you eat up. And then you're sitting there and you're like, we're not going down that path. We've done that before. That doesn't work. You plateau. It's hard. You fuck up yourself. And then like, ultimately not much happens and you gain it back and more.
Well, and you have to think, like, when I came off the Colorado Trail, I was the smallest I had ever been in my adult life, right?
Yeah.
Not since I was freakishly skinny with all my bones sticking out in high school.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, I look great. Also, so tan.
A tan is a fucking Dutch tan.
Yeah, I look great, actually. Yeah, I was the thru-hike radiant. You know, and I felt really good. And I knew in that process, like, this is a dangerous place to be. Is that, like, I want to try to maintain this. I talked to I came home to my partner and I was like, I want to talk to you about this right now before the next couple of weeks happen. And I like put 15 pounds back on and go back to the normal size that I was before. Because it's going to be hard for me mentally to go through that. And like, I just want you to like be here with me in my space. And he very flippantly was like, oh, can you just like stay this size? And I was like, no, like it's not sustainable. My body is not made to be this.
Couldn't I just?
And it wasn't like he like wanted me to. Like he was just like, you obviously like care about this.
Yeah.
And he was like how hard could it be? And I was like, well, I'd have to walk 10 hours a day.
But like, I can't. I would actually have an eating disorder if there was an easier way to get to it.
Yeah, right. You know, if I could just go to the gym for 1 hour a day.
Do you think I would have gotten to this point?
I would have done that. But I looked like this because I just walked 10 hours a day for 40 straight days.
Yeah.
And that's what that looks like, but that's not my life. It's not sustainable.
I think to draw it back to the apple quick for me, where the one thing that makes it hard for me to have we're talking about people don't have this conversation, so we should have this conversation. Mm-hmm. One thing that makes it very difficult for me to want to have this conversation is something like that apple conversation, where it's like, in this moment with how I'm eating on trail, it's intuitive. I'm eating intuitively. I'm listening to my body. I'm not in a point where I myself feel triggered at this moment.
Yeah.
But even if it's in a positive way with positive intent, and it's in a scenario where I'm not triggered and I'm not actually doing anything wrong, any fucking comment about what I am or am not is gonna bring my mind there.
Yeah.
And so then if I say, oh, well, actually, Christine, I thought the same thing as you, and I did this, that, and that, and I had a slip up here and that, then it's like, oh, I fucking knew she looked thin. Oh, I fucking knew she, and then people start to math it out and they say, okay, well, maybe I should ask about the apple. And it's like, you don't need to ask about the apple because when I'm good, I'm good. And when I'm bad, I'm self-aware enough to find a way to make myself good again. But any sort of
is somebody else saying something going to help in any way? And the answer to that is different for everyone. So it's like,
but people come with good intent. They say it because they worry. They say it because, like, if they didn't say something and something were to happen and they knew they didn't say anything, then they feel that guilt.
Well, and for some people, having somebody say something is important,
right?
Helpful, and that. Yeah. So it's like if you're the good Samaritan, so to speak, like, and you see something, like, sometimes it is the right thing to say something,
right?
But you don't know until you do, and this person is like,
but it's like, hey, here's a story where I was a little fucked up, and then the next time I go on a trail, it's like, well, are you sure? Because on this trail you did this. It's like, don't reference shit. Not that anyone has, but that's like where my brain goes. Because when you're talking about your Wonderland trail, for me, that's the same thing as my John Muir trail.
Yeah.
Because when I got off the PCT, I'd lost that weight. Went and did the Colorado Trail as a section hike, was dating a guy who literally, like, an eating disorder's best friend, this guy. That's complete narcissist. We only dated for 4 months. But, like, would say shit that, like, if I had trouble losing weight after pregnancy, would leave me. Because, like, if he's not attracted to me, what is that? Have with someone wouldn't want to introduce me to his unless I had a 6-pack. Like, all kinds of fucked up shit. So when I'm section hiking this Colorado Trail and I'm starting the AT and, like, fucking peak fitness, it's because I'm, like, terrified of this guy I'm dating, like, leaving me because I have, like, an inch of weight, Yes. And so I go into the AT in best shape of my life, but I'm fucking crushing miles in the South. I didn't even know the approach trail was done when I finished it. I thought it was just starting. I was a machine. Oh, I was a machine. But I finished the trail 3 pounds heavier. I started at 108. I finished at 111. I'm 5'1".
Built so much muscle.
And was fucking miserable about it too. And so in 2020, the following year, when I went into the JMT, I had gained that weight back and a little bit, was going through a rocky patch with a guy I was dating then, and thought, well, it's probably because I'm fat.
Yeah.
Obviously, as my brain immediately goes to, I have nothing else that could be a problem about my personality or ways that I am apart from my weight. Everything about me is perfect except for that, so it must be that. So we go on the JMT, and like none of this is like that bad. It's gonna sound a little worse, but keep in mind I'm 5'1", and I like the comparatively the weight and how many calories I need to other people is not as much.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why I will eat a half an apple in a morning hiking and be okay. Fine. Let's not take it too quick. But JMT was COVID, and so we weren't going stopping in towns a lot. We were only stopping in Mammoth, and then we were picking up a resupply, and then we were going the rest of the way to Whitney. So it was 9 days and 11 days.
Yeah.
I carried the small bear bolt and all my food fit in it for the whole thing, for the 9-day stretch, and then again for the 11-day stretch. And I wasn't starving myself. I wasn't doing anything crazy, but I definitely 100% went onto that trail. And thinking I've got these 3 weeks off work to go do this hike.
Mm-hmm.
I've gained some weight. This is a great opportunity for me to get this weight off. I know it works because it worked on the PCT. And typically the thing that like on the AT would have stopped that from working was that I just ate like shit the whole time and didn't really watch what I was eating at all. And so if I just don't pack it, I can't eat it.
That, yes. Yeah. On the Wonderland Trail, it was like, if it's not in there,
Then it doesn't, then what can I do? You know, I'll curse myself when I got on trail, which I did.
yes.
But it was like, haha, fuck you, pre-trail me, packed this bag.
Right.
But that's so curious to me that both of us went through at least one trail first, saw how that rotation and that circle went, and then kind of almost a little bit strategically went into a different trail with some sort of a mindset around it.
Yeah. I recently had a friend tell me, so I'm getting married, obviously, like, as every woman leading up to their wedding, I feel like, you know, weight in the forefront of my mind. I'm like talking to a friend, and I was like, yeah, I, you know, would be nice to lose, 15 lbs before the wedding. And she's like, well, just go do another hike. And I'm like, it's not what I wanted to hear. Yeah, that's like not what I wanted to hear at all. Like, you should tell me that I look beautiful and I don't need to lose any weight. What, 15 pounds? Yeah, not, well, why don't you just go do another thru hike because you look so good when you came off the PCT. And I'm like, I love you so much. It's taking everything in me to, like, not snap back at you. Even now, like, I keep that as, like, a little arsenal in my tool belt where I was like, if things were ever to get, like, more out of control in terms of, like, I were to gain more weight than I felt comfortable with, I could always go do another hike. Like, that's always going to live rent free in the back of my mind. That it is. So how do you hike with that mindset and not allow it to get too far? Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's, how are you managing the thought life around that? Yeah, and it's like, how much of my, like, hiking experience is, like, I love hiking, less than other things. And how much, like, how I look. Well, and also I think there's a really tricky line for female athletes between those things with everything, where it's like, I love my sport, and I do this because I want to feel strong, and I want to feel good. And, like, especially, like, with my chronic illness, like, I feel better when I exercise a lot. And it isn't just that I feel like I look better or I feel better because I feel thinner. That is also there. But I also feel better. Like, my symptoms are better. And I, like, I have less, like, joint pain and, like, just, like, normal stuff that people want to be like, that's, like, the healthy way to want to exercise. But I also, like, transitioned from hiking long distances to, like, running long distances and, like, pushing myself and doing, like, 30+ mile days on a somewhat regular basis. And it's like, yeah, especially once you are pushing that kind of mileage, I think the same thing's true on trail, where it's like, the more you do, the faster your body rebounds when you stop doing it. Yeah. Because your body is burning enough calories and becoming efficient enough for you to be able to put out so much output. And then when you stop doing that, it's like, well, where's all that where's all that processing going that was going to that effort? Yeah. And even, like, I mean, I ran a race 3 weeks ago and I've been working on a book deadline. And so I've not been running the last 2 weeks. And then 10 pounds, it's the way. Yeah.
That was me on my honeymoon. Like, the second I got back from the honeymoon, I weighed myself. I was like, wow, doth she go up?
I like blink and the scale goes up.
Well, it's hard on trail, too, and it's like, because it doesn't only hit in terms of, wow, I'm losing weight, but it's also like you could be in the middle of the trail. Like, I had this thought on the AT where I was in the middle of the trail, and it was just like, somewhere had scale. Like, hostels need to get rid of their scales, but somewhere had a scale. And I stepped on it, and it was like either the same or like a pound heavier. And that entire next section of the resupply was just like mental turmoil of like, what am I doing? Like, I have been hiking for this long. Like, I must just be overeating or do, like just all the ways to validate how could I have gained a pound. And it's like not even thinking about like, dude, you're fucking walking 20 miles a day. Like, you could not be more fit right now.
Right. Yeah. I think also going back to like being on trail is like, we were talking about like the obsession of food on trail. It's also like, how much can you eat in between like sections? And like, it was really weird. I felt like sometimes calorie counting in the grocery store to see how many calories I could pack in my pack, and going back to like hiking with Patrick and stuff, he was counting the calories to see, he's like, I need like 6,000 calories a day. And so it's just like this weird like mindset shift that was like really hard for me. Yeah. Like thinking about going from, I need to lose weight, so I need to be in a deficit, under this many, I need to be eating like, say, 1,700 calories a day to be losing weight. And then going to be like, what do you mean I need to be eating 5,000 calories a day? And that sometimes Patrick was like, you need like, count the calories in this. He's like, the pickles you want to pack out have like 5 calories in a pack. I'm like, but they're delicious. And he's like, but so how many pickles do you carry? Yeah. And not incidentally, but obviously all this weight gain is like on the forefront of my mind, like right before my thru-hike. And I remember crying to Patrick being like, what if I don't lose weight? And he was like, you probably will. Unlikely. Yeah. He's like, you probably will. But he's like, also remember, like, you are not going out here just to lose weight. He was like, people always like, oh, go back to your why, go back to your why, go back to your why. Yeah. And it's like, my why is not to be losing weight, but it's so hard when like, our lives, I'm sure, I feel like we're all around the same age. Earlier. 32. Okay. You were talking about your 20s a bit earlier. So I was like, oh, she's in her 20s. No, then I thought to ask. Yeah, no, I'm 32. And so, yeah, I'm 35. Yeah. We're all the same age. It's God. What? Like growing up in the 90s and the 2000s was incredibly rough. Oh my God. Do you ever see those commercials or the videos online where it's like commercials in the 90s or interviews in the 90s and it goes back to all the shit we would watch where it's like they're asking Britney Spears about diet soda or just all the fucked up shit. Infamous Jessica Simpson photo. Here's one. The one where we're like, she's so fat. Yeah, she's in like a denim like jumpsuit up on stage singing. And I look at that photo now, I'm like, she looks great. Yeah. But then, back in 2002 or 3, whenever it was like, Jessica Simpson has gained so much weight. And so I think, it's just a weird mentality, like going into a thru hike, like trying to remember, like, I need to be eating all these things to fuel me and sustain me and like finish the end of this, however long trail, even if it's 100 miles or 20 or 100 miles or whatever the distance is. Like sometimes it's weird to be like, I need to eat to kill myself or I'm not going to finish this. And I think that's something that like we should all remember is like, you're not going to finish a trail if you're not. If you're starving. And I was so hungry and stressed out at the end of my PCT hiking because I couldn't get enough calories in that I was dry heaving every single morning for like 3 weeks.
I think also like it's figuring out not just I need these calories to fuel myself, but what kind of calories.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to be binging all this food in my mind, if that's how I'm going to view it, is it going to be empty calories that aren't going to do shit for me? Or is it going to be calories that are going to do things for me? And I think growing up in the time period we grew up in, at least I didn't get a heck of a lot of like actual productive learning when it came to learning about types of foods that fuel you versus,
Yeah.
And so that's something where my hikes could get probably better if I were to actually learn and read up about that and do all that stuff. And that's always curious to me, where it's like, just how what you eat can help you either have an easy day on trail or a really hard day on trail. And yeah, you can be smart about it without it being in a restrictive way, but it be in a make the most of, like, make the calories count.
Yeah.
And that sounds restrictive when you say make the calories count, but if you have this amount of calories you're going to need, are you going to spend them on this or that? And I'm still spending them on this instead of that.
Yeah. Oh, and the spending language is really interesting too. Very like Jenny Craig. I do Weight Watchers and Weight Watchers now.
Yeah, it's forced into Weight Watchers and
oh my God. Yeah. I'm still thinking. Yikes. Yeah. I do feel like there was so much messaging in like the 90s and early 2000s that it was just like, it wasn't about what you ate. It wasn't about feeling your body. Like, I don't remember getting any messaging as a child that I like needed to eat. To like sustain my body. Like, it was in every way, food of all kinds is bad. Like, you should just be eating as little as possible at all times. Or that was like the baseline. And so what you're saying about like maximizing your like getting 5,000 calories, especially for someone who had like obsessive calorie counting as like a huge part of disordered eating behaviors, like I have been banned from like using calorie apps and things like that. And like
the apps that I do?
No, my self-banning. This is not allowed for me because it's bad for me. Like, I should not do that. And so like there was a point at which I was like, delete all those things from my phone, and like that's not something I'm allowed to engage in. And so then turning around and being like, I'm gonna become an athlete now, and I need to be. And it's like every single thing, as soon as you start trying to be intentional, and same thing with like kinds of food, if you're like counting your macros, fucking gym bro style, then like that also can be a way to like obsess and to like, it just circled back to the same like thought patterns, the same behaviors. And it's like, you think you're trying to do it in this way that's like, this is important for me, like get the things my body needs to do the thing I want to do. And at the same time, it's like, oh, now I've just become obsessed with like, it's just that for me mentally.
Yeah. I think what's hard, and I can't speak to it from an anorexia perspective, but from a bulimia perspective, I think what's hard is when you're in the thick of it and when you're going through it, like part of it, and a big part of it for me was the release of like serotonin and shit. Like when you're making yourself throw up and you're doing all these things, like your body is releasing these chemicals that, and you're the no scientific background. There's a lot of the body releases quite a bit of serotonin and like feel good shit. Yeah. And so like if you're coming from like a place where like you're not happy and like things aren't going great and like there's not sunshine and rainbows and like that's where you're getting your happiness from, we could be having these conversations, and at a glance for someone who doesn't go through this stuff, it might be like, okay, that doesn't sound like throwing up every meal is great or fun and like or enjoyable, so you would naturally not want to gravitate back to something like that, versus you get all these nice happy feelings from it and like your body starts to associate it with those nice happy feelings, and then it's like whenever things do feel hard or do feel difficult or any of that, it's like, well, I could feel happy, I know how to feel happy, that sort of thing. And so when talking about this stuff on trail, while there's a lot of conscious stuff that goes into not going down that in terms of doing it in just a aesthetic weight, how I look way, there's also a lot of triggering things where it's like the trail's really hard and everything about it's really hard and every day is really hard and things are very stressful, and you go back to that place where like in a way you don't have that control because you're going to have the hill to climb. If you have the hill to climb, the trail is one trail, like you go up it and you go down it and you have control over how much of it you do, but in a way you don't. And so there's something that starts to become very appealing about that mindset where it's like, I would be happy, I can control it, there's all this stuff. And then that's where you have to catch yourself and say like, this isn't the way to achieve that, Yeah. But I do think the trail is like very much a place that maybe for me at least didn't cause those thoughts. Like that came far earlier. And sounds for you didn't cause it because yours came prior to. But I think it's a place where it can very much sustain those thoughts.
Yeah. Well, and just dig things back.
Yeah, resurface that. Because like what you were saying with the before and after photos, I had wanted to, and maybe the Trek shared mine, but I had wanted to, maybe I did too, shared my before and after in the PCT. Can't remember if I did or not, but I do remember that I very much was hesitant to.
Yeah.
Because I thought I looked great at the end of it, but I didn't want anyone to see what I looked like at the start of it.
Yeah, people ask a lot of time, what I looked like before and after the trail.
Yeah, which is like really interesting. And like, I'm also very open about the fact that I lost 50 pounds. And I've gained probably like 25, 30 of it back, which is very normal and very healthy. But yeah, people being like, okay, well, can I see what you looked like beforehand? And I'm like, kind of weird. Yeah, here you go. Like,
Here's also invasive.
yeah. And I'm like an open book. I'm like, you can ask me anything. I'll show you whatever you want. But yeah, people, or they're like, oh, I don't believe you. And I'm like, oh, well, now do I have to show you, like, what I looked like when I started the trail, which was like probably arguably some of the like, it was probably the most unhappy I'd ever been with like my weight, what I looked like, how I was feeling about myself versus like the end of the trail, which was like euphoric. Yeah. I have a photo saved in my phone of the worst I've ever looked, in my personal opinion, just so I can look at it whenever I want. Oh, and I'll buy the Briam.
I do think there's also, we were talking a little bit before we started about comparison with people on social media, but I think there's something to be said for sure about comparison with other people on trail.
Oh, yeah.
Especially as
the
trail culture has kind of shifted in the last 10 years. And I feel like 50% of the people you meet on trail, this is their 22nd trail. Like, there's a lot of people who are like, this is what I do. Like, I hike all the time. And
Don't keep going. Also, seasonally accessible.
I just feel like there's so many people who are like super hikers, and you meet these women out there who are just like toned and tan, and their muscles like popping and they're carrying this back. Like, it's hard, especially as someone who like, I hike a ton and I'm never gonna look like that. My body's just never gonna look like that.
Yeah.
And I see these women and I'm like I can't even escape you out here, right?
Yeah.
Like, here you are, looking hot.
But I have to also remind myself when I met, women on trail, and I'm like, wow, they look great. Like, their muscles, they're so skinny, they're so muscular. And I remind myself, I'm doing the exact same thing that they are.
Yeah.
And that I still, sometimes I have to repeat that to myself over and over again. Like, I may not be 130 pounds for the rest of my life, but this body gets me to do really cool stuff. But it is an everyday battle. Yeah, I have to tell myself, like, just going back to like the post-trail weight gain. The post-trail weight gain for me was really, really, really hard. Like, way harder than anything of like the losing weight on trail or anything like that. Like, I thought it was so cool. It's like, I am eating so much food and I am just dropping lbs.
Yeah.
And yeah, post-trail was really hard for me.
Yeah. Well, I think also what you guys are saying, like, the other interesting thing that you talking about how people look on trail and how great they look and all that, like, I absolutely agree with you on that thought process. I also think, to add like an and, is I don't even know when I look that way. Like, with the dysmorphia that you see yourself in the reflections. For me, what I've noticed is I could be that in someone else's mind and just not even notice myself, because when I look, I don't see that. When I do notice it, like, hey, I looked really in shape there, is always after the fact, like a certain distance removed, looking back at it after I've gained weight. Mm-hmm. And then I look back at it and I say, oh, if only I had appreciated how I looked at that part of the AT when I was in my tent crying about how I thought like I looked fat that day. And compared to now, when I like look so much more massive than I did then, like, wow, I would kill to have that, be how I look right now again. And all that mindset around, in that moment, I could look great, but when I'm looking at myself, I don't see that. And then after I come back and I look back at it, I'm like, to be that again,
I was just looking at photos. I flipped the Sierra, and when I flipped, I spent like 3 days at my parents' house in California before they drove us back to the trailhead to finish. And
I took like a selfie in their like bathroom mirror, and I was like looking at that picture the other day, and then I was also looking at another picture of me like holding out jeans at the end of the PCT, and I was like, I really need to delete these photos. Like, it's just not healthy. Yeah. But it's hard because we like obsess.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah.
When I finished the PCT and we went to Vancouver to like catch our ride back, I bought a new outfit, and this is so fucking 90s funny, but I got a pair of jean shorts from Brandy Melville, which is like the if you don't fit in our stuff, leave.
The one size fits most.
Yeah, if you're like the right shape, then maybe. But I got this one pair, and then obviously I got back from the PCT and I had gained weight, but I still have that pair of shorts.
Oh,
because whenever I think I look good, I'll put them on and I'll see if I look that good.
I bought a pair of jeans that I finished the PCT because literally nothing fit me. Like, I went from, you know, if we're going to talk about sizes, like a size like 30, 31, sometimes even a 32 to a like 26. And so I needed to buy new clothes. So I bought one pair of jeans, and I remember telling myself, I know these won't fit forever, but I need jeans now. I still have them. Like, why? I'm not a 26. I'm not even a 27. I'm really not a 28. So it's like, you just got to get rid of them. It's hard. It's hard too when your body fluctuates so much. And now like men's bodies fluctuate so much. So it's like, I have like a 4 size range of clothes, and like usually I'm in the middle. But like sometimes peak summer, I'm like, I buy with small shorts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, and it'll be like 2 weeks leading up to like getting where I'm like, maybe I'll fit into them. I'll like put them on and I'm like, no. And then like a week later, I'll be like, maybe. Right. So it's like, to the point where it's like, now I'm willing to go out in public in them. Like, of course I can put them on, but like, yeah, you know, at a certain point, then I'm like, okay, I can wear these. But that's like once a year for like 3 weeks. Right. And it's like, have to be on the right part of your cycle. I just shut up from that. I was like, going back to cycles. I mean, my weight fluctuates close to 10 pounds monthly. Yeah, monthly, between when I am like luteal and like just about to hit, you know, day 1 starting to get my period versus like the end of like my follicular.
Maybe other words.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I told you she's a nurse. I said stuff. I told you nothing about. We'll talk.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I could only hope that I'm on my follicular phase when I get married.
Yeah.
I didn't find that out. I track on my Garmin app. Yeah, and it only will predict me out to like May. I think because also like my period is irregularly irregular, I guess is the best way to say it. Even though lately it's been like really consistent, I think my app has a hard time. You know, I would never trust it either.
Here's a question, to whoever wants to give feedback first. I feel like on a trail, I feel like these two things are very similar in a lot of ways, but also different in that one is more visible than other. But I feel like as a girl on trail, if you're thinking about like what makes sense and like what doesn't make sense, like what you would typically see and do versus what maybe would, like I feel like it's so much more common to see and interact with people where we're not wearing makeup. We're not putting a lot of effort into our hair. We're not putting a lot of effort into maybe shaving as often. And it's okay because we're on trail. Like it doesn't make sense to wake up and put on a full face to go sweat it out, right? Like, and then you see someone who might be hiking with mascara on and they're probably a day hiker. Or if they are a thru hiker, like that stands out to you and you notice and you think like, insert thoughts here, but just like, is usually I don't know how I feel about it, but just like they took effort to do that.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I feel like it always stands out so heavily because that's something that you see. But I feel like everything we're talking about with like the food and the weight and like how do you look, like that still goes back to how you look.
Yeah.
So why is it on trail that it's so easy to be like, I'm not going to put on makeup for these 6 months because I'm hiking and like I shouldn't have to care how I look. But it's so hard to apply that to other areas, like how I look physically. Like why can't I have like a not fucking made up face and like no eyelashes because they're red in color and like there's no mascara to give them a tint and like that's cool. But like God forbid, like I have like an inch of a muff top for like a second after I ate a burger while bloated.
if we want to go back to like biology, like we're releasing insane amount of endorphins while we're hiking. And I think that can also be like, I use this, like we're releasing all these endorphins and it's like, I don't need to put on mascara. You know, I'm fine. Like I remember like sometimes on trail being like so confident and being like, where's this coming from? And then being like, oh, I am releasing so many endorphins and like producing serotonin and it's making me feel really good. You know, do you think it also has something to do with the image of what we imagine a hiker is supposed to look like? Fit and dirty outside. Yeah. Right. Like it's all like construct around what. Yeah. I don't really expectation to like either. But like, so like that's not a thing that I've experienced. And I actually like shaved my legs for the first time in like a year on the AT. So like I started the AT like woolly legs, and then sometime around trail days I was like, I think I'm gonna shave my legs. So I did that. I wonder if this guy dumped me and I was pissed about it. And I was like,
and I'll show him one leg hair at a time.
It showed you nothing. We get to
showed you bare legs.
It doesn't make any sense at all. But that's what happened. And I was like, I'm shaving my legs about this. But yeah, I was like, I think I kind of like introed into a bunch of like hyperculture aesthetic type stuff beforehand. But like, you know, I've probably been on makeup 5 times in the last 10 years. Yeah. Like that's not something, I think that's something that's like easier to shift mindset about in terms of action. Yeah. Then
you both have dark hair.
Yeah, I have eyebrows.
I measured my eyelashes, okay? That's just me. I didn't measure my eyebrows. That was you. I do fill them in. Usually, not on trail. It's fun. It's trying to eyebrows like that. And I also bring it back to the laser hair removal. If you ever get ads for laser hair removal and you see that the ad has a ginger on it, check the comments.
You're probably not a candidate.
Laser hair removal does not work on gingers. And so when they post ads with gingers and then they target them to me, that's like maybe the one area of the internet where I can't keep my cool. So I leave like really aggressive comments on that.
But also, do gingers generally need laser hair? Like you don't hair removal. Your hair is so light, right?
But hair can still be annoying. Like if I'm just shaving my bush for an entire trail, like I don't want to feel that down there. You know, like I don't want to like feel it as I'm walking. It's just like uncomfortable and you can feel it. It just
Ew, hot take. I got 3 Brazilians on the PCT.
No, I love it's not a hot take. I love it. Last girl stuff. I think it was the last one or the one before it. We talked about getting waxed. And like I had never had the downstairs wax, but going into wedding season, I did. It was like a lot of cameras and photos. And so this is my like full circle moment is this girl stuff. For anyone who listened to the last one, tell me I have since had my butthole waxed. Good for you for getting them on a trail, though. They're the most painful things I've ever done.
I was gonna say, you have to take a 0, like wax is 0, and then you get like getting back on trail, no underwear.
You get ingrowns from the rub fry walking right after. I've been getting a Brazilian every month since I was 18. Oh my God. When they say Brazilian, does that leave the flight strip? Nope. Is that just everything?
Everything,
including that. That makes sense to me because of what nothing belongs down there, hair wise, in my mind. And for everyone themselves, have your own opinion. For me personally, I just can't.
Yeah.
But I've never had something more painful happen to me in my life.
I think I'm just like really desensitized and used to it.
It's the lips. The butt, the butt feels good almost. The butt's almost like, okay, want to go back and check and make sure you didn't miss anything?
Okay, going to the bathroom. The first like wipe of the butt post butt wax, it's so smooth. It's the ass version of getting in the sheets with your shit.
It's not literally. Realistically, I should have sent this to the last girl stuff like squad, but I didn't. I sent it to the Bachelorette crew. But before my Bachelorette was when I got the first wax, and I explained to the woman, I was like, look, I've never done this before. This is very entertaining for me. Ignore me through this. I'm gonna take a video when you wax the first strip off my ass. So I sent my Bachelorette chat a video with like the invisible ink where you have to like rub it to see it. And if you click it, it's a video of her just tearing a strip off of like my actual asshole.
It's not even the bad one.
No, thank God she didn't. I could have videotaped her bad one.
Lips.
Oh, I can't believe you do that on trail.
Oh yeah,
so find the places.
I mean, it's so there.
Yeah, spotlight. It's spotlight hour. I did look into Hatchby. Couldn't really find anyone that I would go to. So, curious, everyone. I got waxed. So I got waxed right before I left for trail. But you can also get a wax in San Diego. And then by the end of the desert, I was like, oh, I really should get a wax. But, you know, I couldn't find anywhere to Hatchby when I did get one in Lone Pine. Because I hiked Hatchby or Heady Meadows, and then I hiked Lone Pine, and I got off trail Lone Pine.
Is like there towns near Lake Isabella? Like, isn't there like Ridgecrest? Yeah. You could get waxed there, right?
Yeah, I think I would probably go to the place in Hatchby over.
You did go into Hatchby.
No, I didn't. I looked. But then I was like, at that point, I knew that there was a potential that I would flip up to Truckee. So I hiked to Lone Pine, and then I flipped only Lone Pine to Truckee to skip the Sierra in, like, what was it? I guess June at that point. So I got waxed by my fabulous lady in Truckee that I've been seeing for years.
Do you want to give her a shout out? Like, people that hike through?
Yeah. Her name.
If you want to get your butt waxed in Truckee, call.
Okay. Her name is Merritt. She works at Alpine Gold Salon in downtown Truckee. She is phenomenal. She will take care of you. Anything you need. Facial, wax.
Is there Uber in Truckee?
Sometimes.
Okay.
But you can take the Tark Connect. So I tell this to all through hikers who come through Truckee. There is a free, like, on-demand shuttle service in Truckee, but you have to come off the summit. They will not pick you up from either the rest area or the, like, Donner Summit trailhead. Really easy hitch into town, and then there's a free shuttle that will, like, on demand take you around town. Sometimes they're a wait, but yeah, it's also really easy to hitch around Truckee. Yeah. But yeah, Tark Connect and Alpine Gold Salon. And then I hiked all NorCal, and then I got my next wax. I wanted to get one in Ashland, but my dad came and visited in Ashland. He was so kind, and he took us to, like, Walmart, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, REI. Like, there was no room in Pete's itinerary for me to get waxed, so I got waxed in Bend. I went to what's it called? They still email me. It's like Radiant. It's called Radiant Waxing or Radiant Salon. It's like a European wax center. It's like European wax center, like biggest.
That's where I went.
Yeah.
And you go there, I picked the first one.
That's like actually a great place to get your first wax. My roommate in college was like a front desk person. I have been the test dummy for, like, someone's first ever Brazilian they're giving someone.
How can that go wrong?
The wax could get stuck in places that you don't want it. They could pull in, like, a direction they're not supposed to be pulling.
Yeah,
anyways, the side note, they always have, like, someone else in the room, like, training them, telling them exactly where to hold you, where to pull it. So I got waxed in Radiant, the Radiant Salon. It's in Bend. I think it's, like, in the same shopping plaza as, like, where the Trader Joe's and, like, there's a Starbucks there. I did a lot of Trader Joe's shopping on the PCT. And then I got waxed again when I flipped. So I got up to Washington and then spent like a couple days at my parents' house, and I got waxed, like, in their hometown. Like, I think I got waxed, like, the European Wax Center.
When you're getting waxed on trail and, like, the normal resupply, are you telling the people you're hiking with, like, hey, BRB, gonna go get this badge waxed? Are you, like, telling them that you got an errand to run?
No. I have no filter.
Yeah.
So no, everyone 100% knows. And B, I was hiking with another chick and she got one too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Lost and Found, I love you. I know you're listening.
If I was turned on to this waxing stuff sooner, like prior to the AT, which is the last big long one I've done, I would have absolutely tried to get one of the guys. I would have offered to pay if one of the guys would have gotten a full Brazilian with me. Like, not in the same realm. I don't want to see that. But just to know an experience. Just to know it happened, I would pay for that.
No, I was like telling everyone, I was like, yeah, I feel great. I was like, I just got waxed. And they're like, oh, what'd you get, like, your eyebrows? I also did get my eyebrow waxed. It's been Bend. I was like, oh, it's only an additional $15. Sure. Let's get these caterpillars waxed. I do not have caterpillar eyebrows, so yeah, I was telling everyone, I was like, yeah, I just got waxed. They're like, what? And I'm like, oh, full Brazilian, baby.
Oh, man.
And I hiked with Patrick, and then I hiked with Parker, and he was, like, very in the know and was like,
you're insane, but okay. And then lost and found it. She also was getting waxed on trail.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I wish I knew about this though. One thing I did for my wedding that was like very eye-opening for me was I got my lashes tinted because they grow in back.
I just want to do that.
Oh my goodness. I thought that getting lashes, like, when I think of lashes tinted, I think of lash extensions, which is when they put all those little fake ones in. Don't want those. No. Lash tinted lift. They like put this little jelly on your eyelid and then they pull your eyelashes over it with like so seemingly glue, transparent shit. And then they put the tint on and then they wash it off. But like your eyelashes stay. When I sleep on my arm, for example, like in my tent, I sleep weird and my eyelashes start to point down.
Oh, interesting.
And like they point in different directions, so they've been pressed a certain way overnight. And then what I do is I just anxiously start picking all the hair off of them to like take off all the ones that are in the wrong way. And then I find myself with half a eye of eyelashes and half an eye bald. So I really liked the lift part because I was like, wow, they're just all going the right way. And that's helpful for me to not pluck them. And then the tint part was great because it was like, holy shit, like you can see my eyelashes and I'm not wearing mascara. And after I got that done the first time for the wedding, I was thinking if I were ever to do a long trail, I would be so tempted, like once a month, to go into a place and be like, can you tint my eyelashes? And I don't know if that's because I make videos of my hike and like watching them back sometimes is pretty cringe, or if I just like feel like more of a human, less of a small boy, if I can like see my facial girly features.
I think that's why.
But I would do that. I think I would do that on trail. I think I would. Like, I can't say I would do it, like, religiously and nonstop, but if I was in a town and I was doing a resupply and I saw next to the grocery store was a place that did lashes, like, you would find me in that store at this phase of my life.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I will say, I got a lot of shit not from, like, my, like, Trump family. Like, they were like, you do your girlfriend, like, whatever you want to do. But from, like, other people, they'd be like, hikers? Yes. Really? Oh, you're shaving your legs? Everybody has an opinion about how they should.
Like other long distance hikers?
Oh, yeah.
I always find that interesting because I feel like at a certain point in a hike, like there should be a certain amount of like we going on where we wouldn't be like shitting on ourselves, you know?
Yeah, but everyone is other.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think I feel like maybe we talked about like elitist attitude last time I was on the show. I don't remember.
We can go back down.
Or like the completionist attitude. I feel like there is also a like, how grungy, how dirty are you? Oh, yeah. Like, are you in the club of like hiker trash, or are you like being prissy and like getting your vagina washed? Right? Like whatever. Yeah. Like, are you shitting? Are you not shitting? Like, I feel like there is like, you know, and like all the girls on the AT getting like their heads buzzed at trail days. I don't know.
Is that a thing?
That was a thing in 2015. Yeah.
Oh,
like a bunch of girls got, because there's free haircuts from the church. Is that still a thing? I have no idea what kids are doing these days.
Me neither.
In 2015, the church that like co-hosts Trail Days gave free haircuts and foot baths, and they like washed your feet. Something to do about Jesus. Yeah. And just, yeah, I don't, but also free haircuts, and you could get, you know, you could just get your hair trimmed, like whatever, but like a bunch of girls shave their heads.
Fascinating.
I got like buzz.
Which good, if that's your haircut of choice, good for you.
Right. I'm sure. Yeah. And if you and your 5 friends want to go get your hair buzzed because you're on the AT and it's going to be so carefree, like also cool. But then, yeah, there just becomes all these like division lines about like, are you in this club or not? Yeah.
It's so interesting because like, who defines the club? Like, we know the club exists. You know, we know how to get in it and out of it. For example, when I hiked through Tehachapi, we went to CVS and I bought mascara and I put it on just to feel alive. Amazing. I'm like, man, YouTube didn't like that. But you, what you're saying, like, you know it. Like, you know, like, okay, if I get my hair buzzed at this AT thing, like, I will either fit in more or less on trail. Yeah. If I put on mascara in Tehachapi, I will either fit in more or less on trail. If I get my asshole waxed in Truckee, I will either, you know, like, they're... So how do those things get started? Like, not to get too like philosophical, but like who determines what the fuck's cool or not on a trail? And like, I think like on trail, it's like how dirty and like grungy kind of like you can be. Like, I mean, at the same time that I was getting waxed in Bend, the trail angel we stayed at, who had hiked the PCT like 2 years earlier, told me and Patrick that we were the dirtiest thru-hikers she had ever hosted at her house. And listen, I wore that like a badge of honor. She made us, thank you. She made us hose off before we came into her home in her backyard. And she goes, I've never had to ask anyone of this. And I took
2 showers in all of Oregon.
I think that also goes to show it can be both, right?
Yeah.
You can be the girl who's getting waxed and also be dirty and disgusting. And like, does that,
Well,
right? Like,
yes, because everyone's personality isn't one thing. You know, like if we all had just like one personality part to us and that was it, like that would suck. And I think like I like to wear very nice outfits when I'm not on trail. I like to swim. I like to do my hair. And when I'm on trail, I'll go 17 days without showering. But then why is it that if those two worlds cross,
you're all of a sudden, it's weird.
it's or it's bad or it's not? I thought this was a hiking page, you know, and it's like, why? Because I posted a video of me doing anything different. Like why can't there be that overlap there?
Well, and I think there is, and it's just like being shut down a little bit. I don't know. My best friend on the AT, and who's still a very good friend of mine, her trail name is Maybelline, and she wore winged eyeliner on the AT.
Incredible.
It was amazing. And I mean, I even felt a little bit like judgy about it because I was dealing with all my, like that's where a lot of judgment comes from. I was dealing with my own shit. But people talked about it a bunch. She got pink eyed twice. So she had to stop wearing the eyeliner. You know, it's
like closetly bloat when it happened.
No. We actually didn't know each other super well on the AT. We got like we met, and then so this all kind of happened like right before I met her. But you know, I do think there is like issues like that where it's like you're using makeup when you're dirty and then you're putting it in your eye again. Like,
sure,
I don't know how common that is, but she had problems with it for sure.
Yeah, I don't think I would put on makeup like on trail for the day-to-day. Like today I'm not wearing makeup, even though I'm not a video camera. I'm putting on a podcast to however many people just because there's no windows. I feel like I'm by myself. But I can't see myself putting on makeup on trail. But I guess I just don't understand why some people give such a fuck about what other people are doing and why it's usually something that pertains to women. And like I was just gonna say, it's because men are gonna be putting on makeup. Men like aren't gonna be they don't shave their beards.
That isn't the first,
but they don't get the shame for not shaving their beards. They don't get like there's because it all looks rugged. It all goes
and because men have more choices about what they're allowed to do with their bodies than women do.
Yeah, and so like for example, one of the guys I was hiking with, he got multiple haircuts on trail. Like he was like, oh, I need to get a haircut. He got a haircut. He got his beard trimmed. No one cared.
Looking fresh.
I shaved my legs, and people, I hate to say this, it was typically other women would be like, oh, you shaved your legs? Oh, why'd you mail yourself a razor? I'm like, why do you care?
But do you ever think about just being like, because of my beard? Like say something kind of like shocking to people to make them be quiet?
No, but that's a great comeback. I think because like initially the razors were for my legs and not for the beard.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. I think for me it would be like I can come off so abrasive that I would be self-conscious that I would then be the problem. Like, I would then be the one where it's like, oh no, you be abrasive. You know, yeah, like, you know, I'm going people pleasing self, being like, if I snap back at this, then like I'm taking it too personally, or like I don't know. And it's interesting and it's interesting when it's a girl on girl thing because it's like, fuck, like we gotta help ourselves if we can.
Well, but we all feel pressure to like do the things we're expected to do, and so if we see someone else not doing them, then we're like, hey, we're supposed to do this, and I'm letting it oppress me, so you have to let it oppress you too.
Yeah. How do we stop doing that?
Be unoppressed.
You're asking like the heavy hitters. Yeah.
I think you just have to do what you want to do. And when other people have feelings about it, you have to be like, not my problem.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Your feelings about my actions are not my problem.
Yeah. We talked on one of the things, I think, Maggie, you had put it in your little notes.
Or we'll put it in there notes.
It was Maggie, you put it in your notes where you had put thoughts about like the evolution of what's on trail, how like more and more women are getting on trail, and it's like you feel closer to a 50-50 split versus how it might have been. Do we think that these like things that we're talking about get better as the amount of women on trail go up? And do we see a difference there, or do we see?
Yeah, I think the more women the more women that are like out there, the more women that are hiking, the more visibility women have on trail, the more like normal, like, I guess like almost like behaviors, like women can do whatever they want on trail. If they want to like wash their face every single night, if they want to put on lotion, if they want to get waxed, if they want to shave, if they want to get a facial in town, or like whatever it may be that's typically seen as a woman activity. I think the more women that are on trail, like the more those things like can come like up, or like just be more normalized, you know, like the more like girly activities. And I think that also leads into like the more women that are coming on a trail, like the more like representation in like, you know, hiking media or online they see of women, the more likely we're gonna get, you know, backpacks designed for like women's anatomy and like more things that are designed like for women. Well, and also I think this goes back to that idea of what a hiker should look like. Like I think 15 years ago, there were so few women out there that they kind of all fit into a mold of like not very feminine, right? And there was a lot of women who were like just with the boys doing that because those were the only women that were out there. And the more women we have out there, the more types of women we're going to have out there, and the more acceptance for like you don't have to be this type of woman to be on trail. I mean, this is my plug for Backpacker Radio. My very first episode I ever listened to was Girl Stuff 1.0. And Trial by Fire. Patrick and I had like just started dating, and he was like, I think he had like mentioned something about like Backpacker Radio or whatever, and I'm just like scrolling through and I was like, oh, there's this stuff with girls. I didn't know any girl that thru hikes or really like did like long distance backpacking. So yeah, I mean, I was like, wow, there's apparently a lot of women out there. I'm like, where can I find you? Like, where can I go to like look for like gear recommendations? Because everything that, you know, comes up on a quick Google search is for men. Yeah, boy stuff. Like, where can I get a cute backpack? Like, where can I tell you? Yeah, you know, there is a women's ultralight company, Symbiosis. Yes, I was just about to bring her up.
But I agree.
Yeah.
When I did the Colorado Trail, I had gone to REI because I had done like a Hawaiian shirt from Walmart on the PCT, and it was the Hawaiian shirt days of thru-hiking. And so we went on to REI, or went to REI, not fucking single Hawaiian shirt in the women's section. Went to the men's section, like 8 different kinds. Got very heated about that. Went home, like made some comment somewhere, nasty on it. And then ended up buying this shirt. Was called Crustacean Vacation. Blue shirt and crabs all over it. It was from Tipsy Elves. Men's shirt, because again, they did more unlimited models. So I fucking cut it apart and re-sewed it to my measurements. Like, it's like
impressive.
It's not like a sewing machine sew. It's like a single stitch needle in hand sew, right? Like, it was just like me and a point of like anger to the point of, what? No one didn't fucking make it for me. I'll make it for myself, you know? And
did that last for the whole trail?
Oh yeah, I still got it. I doubled back my stitches. However, it was like more work than I needed to do just to get a Hawaiian shirt that fit a woman. And I feel like now there's, at least like you're saying with Symbiosis, and now there's Hiker Kind. Like, there's so many more brands that are geared towards women outside, which is great. But if we're still seeing like all these like conceptions and like the typical hiker and all that on trail, even with more women, like, how do we fucking stop that? And I don't think there's like an easy answer. I don't think you're just gonna be like, hey, here's an idea. Perfect.
I think episodes like this, you know, are like huge for like opening up. Like, there are a lot of women on trail now. I got like real nerdy in statistics, and like there's not, I mean, it's really hard to like go and quantify like, you know, statistics on trail. So I looked at Halfway Anywhere. His first hiker survey was like 2013, and only like 35% of the people who responded identified as women, whereas the most recent survey was like 47% or something identify as women. And so I think like representation is like getting out there, but I think as like everything, I mean, with gear and stuff, it's not like, oh, this year there's 47 women, boom, all of a sudden we have like a woman specific pack or more fun prints for shirts or like more women's cut, whatever. It's gonna take like, I think, time for like things to catch up. But I think also just like being like a woman and just being loud and taking up space, and telling stories. And talking about this stuff is like not glamorous too. Like like a lot of times women look at things like through hiking and they're like, but like, what do I do about my period? And like, how do I add this? And like, you know, like all of the low key, like, patriarchal expectations of women. And it's like, how do I deal with that when I'm on trail? So like having conversations about how you're like managing your chin hair, like what we're doing with our periods and like those kind of things, which is like, we're so trained to hide those things and to have them be like this secret element of our lives that we need our house to manage. Yeah. And so it's like, how do you manage all the things that we're pretending aren't going on when we're out in the woods? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge...
Really well said.
Yeah.
Really well said. I think one thing that also kind of makes me annoyed, and I don't know a solution, I'm just like annoyed, is like, okay, like what you're saying. An example of ways to help fix this is more conversations like this, hearing things like this, seeing things like this, us talking about this eating disorder conversation, saying we haven't heard this other places. So let's talk about it more. And it being like, let's see more people like us on trail and let's get the visibility and the yay. And then you have like, I'll go on a trail and I'll post videos of my hike and she's an influencer. Yeah, she's just doing it to, she just wants to be an influencer. And there's 4 types of hikers. There's the adventurer, someone just said it on an episode, and there's the influencer, and there's the stoner, and like, which category are you? And it's like, that's not interesting to me because it's never the guy who's the influencer. No matter how many videos they post of their hike, they're not the influencer. The influencer is the girl in the yoga pants that's going on the hike, that's posting the videos, that like looks kind of cute, and she's only out there to influence. And it's like, how do we fucking win when it's like, if we see more people like us that are women that are out here that like can introduce us to this, where it's not I got introduced from my fiance, or it's not I got introduced from my shitty ex, or not, any of those things. Like if I want to get introduced from seeing women out there, but then every time a woman goes out there and starts sharing this shit online, like we're like, oh, influencer. She's diminished. Like where do we fucking win?
I do think there's one, I think it's interesting that influencer is a bad word. I wouldn't say I identify as an influencer, and I think that's because I don't feel like I'm selling products. I'm not like making money for my social media. And not, other than like I write books and that's like my income stream. But I think there's an interesting like one, why is influencer such a dirty word? But then also like, what are you influencing people to do? And I think that the reason influencer is thought of as a dirty word is because it's sales. It's like, I'm selling products, I'm hawking whatever bullshit and trying to get you to buy that. But I think that when you think about influence, like, isn't the conversation we were just having about wanting to influence more women to get outdoors? And isn't that the purpose of sharing these things?
Yeah.
So can you say influencer is exactly what we're trying to do?
100%. But that's what I'm saying, where it's like, if we say that would net positive be good, why not us 3 at this table, but why as a community on whole do we shit on that so heavily? And I see what you're saying about the salesy thing. But, like, fuck, you'll also get guys who are, I'll throw my friend Pyro under the bus and freaking Godzilla, where it's like, we're going to do the trail with under $1,000 and here's how you can help us. So, like, I'm not selling anything, but I'm still accepting something.
Yeah.
Versus for me, if it's like, fuck, if I throw an affiliate link on something, you are absorbing my content for free. So I'm not working right now. And if, like, you were going to buy this thing anyway, and you care to buy it through this button versus through that button, and that could help me stay out here, how is that different from you send me a Venmo? Except for that you receive an actual quantifiable thing at the end of it that you wanted anyway.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with selling products. And, like, that's not what I do generally, but, like, do you know how many times I've, like, posted a video and someone's like, what's the dress you're wearing? Or, like, what's the thing you're doing? And it's like, people want to know what we are using to do the things that we are doing. Gear is a huge part of hiking. And so it's like, why are we shitting on that culturally when it's like, no, you're all out here buying cotton products. So why are you acting like it's some kind of like betrayal of the hiking experience for someone to be selling the product that you were going to buy?
Well, or also where it's like, why is this girl who's doing this trail just known as an influencer just because she's sharing it, when it's like you're saying, we don't see enough women out there, and having more of that visibility and more of that videos can only help. So it's like, why, at least if I bring it back to me, why is it
ingrained in my brain where then I see someone who's posting a lot of videos on their hike and like my brain doesn't go immediately to positive. And I feel like we're conditioned to view that in a way where it's not positive based on, for me, personal experience with what I like have seen in my own comment section, but also with just the stigma of if you're posting it, it's for attention or it's because you want to get a following or there must be some other motive.
Yeah.
Whereas when guys post this shit, that doesn't happen, you know? So I just think it's interesting because it's like, yeah, as the trail becomes more 50-50 women, as you've observed, whether or not that's like the actual ratio or not, you would think it's like this great thing where it will get more women outside and it will show all this stuff and it will be great, but then we treat our own in that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and I'm not saying it is just like men treat us that way. Like we treat our own that way.
Okay.
Like I see someone who's posting all kinds of videos and I'm like, oh, they're just posting videos, you know? It's like, what the fuck am I thinking now? I'm complaining about this. You know? Have you had that?
Thinking thoughts about someone that
And just like fucking judging people for shit. And knows, of course. I don't know. Like,
and a lot of it is like story that we tell through community. And I do think there's an interesting aspect of the outdoor like content culture, which is like there's a division of types of people who are watching that. It's like who's listening to backpacker radio, people who have hiked a bunch of trails and they just like love the culture, and people who want to, and people who never will, and they are just enjoy hearing about it. And like those people are all experiencing those things in different ways and have different opinions. And I find that the people, I don't get a ton of negative commentary on my social media. I like consider myself very lucky, but that's not a thing I face a lot. But when I was on TikTok very briefly, which I can no longer go there, the people who said the most whack shit in my comments were people who are not hiking. It was not hikers, right? Like it was not inner the community that people were saying crazy stuff. It was people that just have fucking opinions.
yeah.
Right. So like we're also being infiltrated. Like this isn't a closed community where it's only like what we've decided we want to think and say and judge people for. But it's also like people who never done what we're doing.
Yeah.
And just have opinions about women doing things.
As they do.
Just existing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're running towards the end, but I would like to leave the door open for, I think we covered most of our touch points, but do either of you guys feel very strongly about something that we haven't touched on yet that you would like to talk about before we head out? Any table left and turn?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think it was really nice to talk about like POTS, PCOS. In terms of like these long distance endurance sports, there's just not a lot of information online. Yeah. In terms of like dealing with any sort of illness and not taking steroids as a representation and people doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Let's say we have a gal listening to this and it's like you, Maggie, where it's their first episode they're ever listening to and they're considering doing a trail. What specific advice would you give to someone who's coming here feeling like in the dark about things and has a trail like the AT on their mental maybe list? Well, I have an obsessive mind, so I would just say research, which doesn't always work out really well. But if you're a woman who's wanting to like get out there in the outdoor space, find like women content creators that are producing like content for hiking. Like I think honestly, like I read a ton on like the Trek the year before, and then would find like their social media pages. The only time I've ever been on YouTube was leading up to my PCT hike, and I think just like Googling and trying to find, I would definitely try to lean into like women hiking and women hiking spaces, leading up to like something like a AT hike or any sort of hike, because it's just, in my opinion, it is so different from the male experience. And we have such amazing and unique bodies that go through different things on trail than a man does, like our periods and cycles and the way our brains work and all that stuff. And so I think it's really nice finding like other women creators. I love influencers. I'm like, influencing, please. Send me your affiliate link. Yeah, sure, I'll buy it for you.
Hell yeah. Anything to touch on that topic?
Yeah, it's so funny because what the advice that I give people most often is like, don't overthink it. I'm a chronic overthinker. And like, you can research until you're just like so full of information that your head explodes. And I think it like everybody's experience is so different. And so like, yes, you can. I think storytelling and sharing our experience is so powerful, so wonderful. Like, I love doing that, and I love like people's reception and having those conversations with people, and they're like I was inspired by you, or like related to what you were talking about. Like, all of those connections are so wonderful. And so I'm like, for sure, like, see other people do things and have those conversations, but also like, you're not going to figure it out until you are out there. And so like, make sure you have the gear you need to not die. Other than that, like, you'll fucking figure it out when you get out there. That's way better advice, actually. I'm a chronic overthinker. Like, but I mean, I by chronically over preparing and like really researching, I was like, I really don't need any of this stuff. And even though like I got into through hiking through my fiance, like I very much like, he let me do my own thing. He's like, I'm not going to tell you what you can and cannot bring. And his only piece of advice was, just remember you have to carry it. So I remember chronically like looking into like stuff. I was like, okay, I really don't need this. I don't need this. Yeah, do I want to carry that? Yeah.
I would echo that, where I think whatever type of thinker you are, whether you are a overthinker or an underthinker, or an over prepper or an under prepper, or whatever way you typically like keep your own personal chill, don't let someone else tell you to prep differently than what feels right for you. If you're counting every fucking calorie and vacuum sealing individual portions of peanut M&Ms and doing all kinds of weird shit that I did before my first date that I ended up like throwing out half of, like, some could call that a waste of time and like a lot of unnecessary work that I could have gotten away with not doing. However, for me, it made me feel like the thing was real, it was happening, and it was coming, and it made me feel prepared, even if it like didn't actually matter at all. It just like gave me a feeling of preparedness that allowed me to find my inner chill. And so not everything like needs a profound purpose or needs to be right. If like you're an Excel girly and like having that spreadsheet will help you feel like you are prepped to go on trail, I would love to see it. Like, make that spreadsheet. Or if you're someone that's like so type B that like you just like want to throw your shit in a pack the day before and like see what happens, don't let the spreadsheet girl make you think that like you can't go out there because you didn't have the spreadsheet. Like, I think, yeah, and you're gonna hear so many opinions about everything. Just do what makes you chill. Because it's nerve-wracking enough. She's sorry, so it's just 4 tabs. She's got this. Oh my god, you should look at this spreadsheet compare. I have so many good ones. Before we head out, last thing I want to do, just on this note, while we're talking about like girls that are out there that are doing this, that are posting, that like, you know, can also make this feel more approachable for other women, or also are sharing really good info out there. I was thinking it'd be fun to just like, in no particular order or rhyme or rhythm, just like info dump like some names of people that we love that are out there that like someone could go follow or check out or get influenced by. Very informal. Okay. But yeah. I'm scrolling through who Backpacker Radio is following, because I'm not logged into them on my iPad. Something just happened. So, that died. Okay.
I mean, it's not recording anymore.
Oh,
I don't have
it doesn't it's not recording anymore. So maybe I'll record this for now, but let me see if we have extra batteries quick.
I'm good.
If not, we'll just do it as a YouTube exclusive. Okay. All right, Sarah, we're doing YouTube exclusive here. I'm not going to actually move this because then you won't see us all. So we're just going to have to talk louder is what this is going to mean. Shout the name. Don't tell me to have a good time. This will either be probably YouTube or Patreon. I would guess YouTube. Sarah, this is where the video cuts from the audio. I don't know how we'll do this, but just the rapid name shout out we'll do on video.
Just make it work.
Yeah, we'll make it work. We're not a polished machine here. Okay, so
I'm going to start. My first one is going to be our sweet girl, Elise. Elise.hot. Elise, don't be mine. Sorry. I'm going to keep scrolling and saying, oh yeah, Elise and I chat on Instagram. She's great. Is it, okay. Kotezi? Oh, Kotezi, yeah. Yeah, she posts a lot of really good content of her doing a lot of like really cool outdoor stuff, big projects and stuff. Yeah, cool. I really like Hallie Treks. Hallie Treks? Oh, yes.
Her through YouTube.
I follow her on TikTok. She's incredible. Yeah, she's the
Hallie, like Hallie.
Halle Treks. Okay. My next one, Sketching Summits. Heidi Nisbet. She is a artist. She paints a lot of murals in the Southern Appalachians. And she's really good at watercolor, and she hikes. So next one, another shameless plug for Blaze Physio. Her and I have become pretty good friends. It's my hike, and she is just like a wealth of knowledge and resource, and like makes like even if you get injured, like very approachable and how to like move on from it. And she posts a lot of really good, very like educational content. Cool with that.
Bethany Climbs. She's actually the person whose book I'm publishing next. But she's based in the Adirondacks and does like tons of stuff up in Northeast stuff. But yeah, hiker and mountain climber.
The only other content creator or like hiking person that I have found that has PCOS, I think she's on Instagram, but I follow her on TikTok. It's like Harris Hikes, or her name's like
Harris Hikers.
Yes. Yeah. She has been posting a lot of content lately about. I know she had PCOS. Yeah, she's been posting a bunch of content lately about having PCOS and doing like high volume training, which we were talking about. I think a lot of people with like illness, chronic illness, PCOS especially, it's like don't increase your cortisol. And it's like literally waking up increases your cortisol, and I think you need to move your body in a way that feels really good for you. And if that is, lifting weights and CrossFit and ultra running and thru hiking, and endurance things, I think that's really important. And if Pilates and yoga isn't doing it for you, then don't do that and find something that works for you. And she's been posting a lot about that. Love that. Yeah. And she just seems like such a positive person.
Cute. I was going to say Madison Blagden. She's attempting the calendar year triple.
Oh, cool.
I haven't kept up with it, but we had her on and she was really good to talk to, but she does post a lot of stuff, so that would be a great one to follow. And then the other one, I better remember the handle name for a second. Skipping to a different one is Little Skittle. So Miss Rebecca Ann is her Instagram. And Little Skittle is a badass. Does a lot of solo hiking, has done the Triple Crown.
I think that's true.
I think, yeah. She did. She had. So she's a great one. Who else? Sophia Garber.
That we saw. Ray Heck's the PCOS singer.
Yeah, she had a nurse pass,
but I do follow her on Instagram. She is very positive. She seems always very positive.
ATLT, PCTA. Jennifer Farr Davis.
Yes.
No brainer. Who else? Symbiosis Gear was one that you mentioned. I think that's a great one to follow.
I'd say, yeah, are there any other like brands?
If we want to talk more artists, Abstract Hikes. She does ATR and she hikes.
Do you know Monica? What is her? I don't know the handle. Monica something. She did the CDP here. She's also an artist.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know.
Look up.
Liz Kidder is a good one. Steph Lotus. She was on Girl Stuff 1.0 and she's up in Arizona now. I don't know if she's doing as much long distance stuff, but definitely outdoor content. Jess Hikes Trails. So that's Sassafras, aka Jess from the Trek. You'll know her from all the Trek videos. Any others? Before we...
Those are a comprehensive list.
There are some comprehensive lists. I think it
should make a comprehensive. We could actually dump.
I would hate to accidentally leave people out though.
Yeah, I think how I find a lot of people is I find someone whose content I really like, and I'm like, wow, they seem cool. I'm like, who are they following?
Yeah, that's how I find some guests for the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll go to gear companies and I'll see who they follow. Oh, and I'll check out their profiles.
That's cool. Cool. Okay. Well, unofficially, because we were dead on battery, this is Girl Stuff 4.0. Woo! We did it, guys. Thanks. And if you're still with us on YouTube, yeah, thanks. Thanks. Bye.
To the Trek propaganda portion of today's show. This will be the shortest Trek propaganda of all time. Actually, no, that's not true. There's a couple that I want to feature. But this article just came out a few minutes ago, and I haven't had a chance to read it. And the title is so clickbaity that I'm just going to say the title, and then you guys are going to want to go read it. But this is from Kelly, so it's going to be good stuff. And it's this simple backpacking mistake almost cost me my whole hike.
I wonder what the mistake is.
Yeah, so don't fall into that trap, and you'll have to click on the link in the show notes to get it. But Kelly always does amazing work, obviously. And the other one I want to call out, this is not so much a deep dive into anything, but Madison Blagden, who's been featured many, many times on this podcast, Peg Leg, very popular blogger and thru-hiker. She's in the process of trying to be the first woman to hike 10,000 miles in a single calendar year. Holy fucking shit. So props to Peg Leg. She's still doing basically daily posts on the trek. As of this recording, she's on the Florida Trail for the second time this year. So the girl's just addicted to miles.
Is this like the year ending on December 31st?
Calendar year.
Or
yeah.
from like when she started?
Calendar year, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
For a moment there, I thought you meant she was going to try this next year. And I'm like, no way she did all that shit this year, and she's going to do that next year.
Yeah. We have a chat scheduled to see what she's up to for next year. I hope she's taking a little bit of time off because
A nap?
I was gonna say, girl, just lay down for a little bit and then get after it again, of course. But you've earned a little time off.
Very impressive.
Okay, let's get ready to question of the day. What do you got?
Have you seen the Diddy doc?
I've not. I've been seeing it pop up for whatever reason. Anytime I see the Diddy doc referenced, it's always 50 Cent just giving him shit.
Yeah. Are you in any of the lore with this?
I just know that they have beef, and it turns out when you're the one not in prison, it's easier to get more of the limelight.
Oh my God. Okay. You need to go home and watch this. It's incredible. I'm surprised you're not more into it, being that you're a little older than I am. But
hey,
basically 50 Cent fucking hates Diddy.
Yeah.
Hates him.
I think that's been going on for a while.
Yeah. 2006 apparently is when it started, the beef. Oh my God, where to start? So 50 Cent hates Diddy and like made this whole documentary to like kind of expose all the shit that he thinks has been sliding under the radar.
Oh, this is 50's documentary.
50 made the documentary.
Oh, I didn't know
And when you
that.
see those clips of him doing the interviews,
makes a lot of sense
what's
now.
funny is he's doing the interviews on ABC.
Yeah.
And apparently the reason he was open to doing these interviews on ABC, it's one of the few channels that you're allowed to watch in prison. So he specifically chose that so that Diddy would have to see these interviews. Yeah. And so like that's the energy he's going into
man.
all of this with. But
Diddy's gonna
the
have him
documentary is so good. It's called Sean Combs: The Reckoning. We thought for a while that it was gonna be called Diddy Do It. But
I think that's a South Park callback.
basically he goes into like he has a lot of footage, and it's like, how the fuck did he get all this footage?
Yeah.
And I think that Diddy was trying to make a documentary or make like something to like make himself look good prior to him getting arrested, and he never paid the film crew. So all this film exists and no one got paid, so 50 Cent bought it.
That's
and now
amazing.
this documentary is like using a lot of his stuff.
All right, I will watch this.
Like there's like commentary from him in a hotel room being surveilled by police like 6 days before he's arrested, and he's like talking to his lawyers and shit. And it's like, how did he get this footage?
With it being on ABC, is it watered down? Because I imagine you can only get away with so much on network television.
No, this is a Netflix documentary. The interviews that 50 did about the
It's all on
interview
ABC.
about the
Got it. All right.
So in this documentary, it's basically like really, really hard to not think after watching it that Diddy's behind Tupac. Absolutely behind Tupac. Like you hear him saying it essentially in this documentary, like putting the hit on him.
Yeah.
And like you talk to like members of like different groups, and like you see what happened and all this shit where it's like, fuck, like Diddy is responsible for Tupac. And then goes even deeper where it's like he started the East versus West gang shit, like as a result of shit that he did. And so then the Tupac stuff happens. They have this like rivalry going with Death Row. Records, and he sends Biggie out to the West Coast to like do some promo shit, and Biggie doesn't want to be there, and Biggie's like, we got like actually warned not to have anyone out here. Don't send me out here. I don't want to go. Diddy's like, no, you have to stay out there and like do this promo stuff, and then Biggie dies. And then
So they got Biggie killed.
yes, that's the whole essence of it, is like he played it off like Biggie really wanted to be out there, but you see all these like interviews and things that's like Biggie didn't want to be there. And then he fucking throws a funeral for Biggie with Biggie's money, has Biggie pay for it, and then is like dancing on stage to like Every Breath You Take or whatever that song is.
Yeah.
Just like stomping in the guy's fucking grave.
Yeah.
Then it goes into the stuff with Kid Cudi. Do you know about that?
No.
Okay, so basically Kid Cudi was hanging out with his girlfriend, Diddy's girlfriend, or the lady he was with or whatever, and Diddy got pissed and stole his dog and then blew up his car. Neither of those really make it into the documentary. I know that from Garrett, but like you see him like take his assistant or some girl that works for the company as hostage.
Yeah.
And like is holding her at gunpoint, telling her to call the girlfriend and be like, he won't let me go until you come back. Like just fucking like, as you think it can't get fucking crazier. And then you get to this point in the documentary and you're like, my mind is blown. This is insane. And then you realize like, wait, we haven't even gotten into the baby oil yet.
Right, the freak offs.
Yeah, so then they start talking about the freak offs and the
Yeah.
baby oil and how like the baby oil is like laced with drugs
Yeah.
and like going into like all the like shit that's wrong there. And they have these interviews from these jurors cut in, and you can like kind of tell the jurors are starstruck
Yeah.
by Diddy.
Yeah.
And so was it a fair trial? Probably not. And now that the jurors were in this video, people are posting photos where one of the jurors, juror 160, who's being interviewed in this documentary and just does not look like an unbiased source, whatever the case, she starts to see photos people are posting of her with Diddy, like as if she had met him and like lied about it to get on the jury.
Yeah.
So it's not done. It has not all unfolded yet. I hope it like causes them to reopen an investigation, because it's fucking wild that none of this stuff has ever been like
Yeah.
punished. And then the last thing that's really interesting about it this week is Diddy this week or last week when it came out sent 50 Cent flowers from prison. And everyone's like commenting on it that it looks like a funeral arrangement. It looks like the specific flower set that he sent to Diddy or to 50 Cent is a funeral arrangement.
Yeah.
So I can't recommend this enough. I stayed up really, really late because I couldn't turn it off. It's fascinating.
Is it a single thing or is it a
4
series?
episodes.
Okay.
4-hour-long episodes. Like real blast of the past for the 90s. I brought up shit I forgot existed, like the band Danity Kane. Do you remember them? It was like a Diddy band that he put together, but I hadn't heard that name in years. It's a really, really, really
All right,
good
I'm
documentary.
sold.
It's really good.
I've been seeing a lot of it just in pop culture in general. So
You should watch it.
Yeah.
You're just gonna be like, how the fuck how do we have this and no one has been like charged?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
It's really well done.
I do like 50. Every time I see him in an interview clip, he's shitting on Diddy.
The shit he did with Ja Rule, did you hear about that? Back in whenever he had a beef with Ja Rule, and he went on Ticketmaster or somewhere for one of his concerts and saw that like the front row seats were $15 each, bought up the entire first 4 rows so that Ja Rule would have to go out and all first 4 rows were empty.
That's funny.
I just like the way he hates.
Yeah, he is an expert level troll for sure.
Yeah, I think that's like the main takeaway I've been seeing in the memes is people are like, wow, I haven't been hating to my full potential.
Fuck yeah. All right.
So
I will definitely put that on the list.
yeah, let me know how you like it.
I'm torn because I'm currently very into Pluribus, the new
Just pick one
Apple
night.
TV.
One
Yeah.
night of your week, watch it.
Oh, that 4 hours of TV is going to take me a week because I usually fall asleep 45 minutes after putting something on, but
Unless it's that interesting.
it's true. Okay. Let us do the triple crown of the worst parts of the holidays. Ho,
Yes.
ho, ho.
Do you want to start or shall I?
I'll start.
Okay.
I'm going to go with all of those goddamn boxes.
Oh.
Our garage just turns into a box cemetery this time of the year. I've since found a place where I can ditch my boxes. I won't say it on air because it's probably not a good... I mean, I'm recycling them. I just don't know if I'm supposed to be recycling them at the particular place that I am. But yeah, we just get... First of all, I have a Amazon addiction, which I know is not going to win me favor with anybody, but I don't have time to go shopping to do anything. So I get a lot of stuff on Amazon.
Same.
So we get a lot of boxes from that. And then this time of the year, grandparents, aunts, uncles, everything are sending the kids gifts. And it just, and our recycling line gets picked up every other week. Probably the same for you.
I don't know. I don't touch the trash.
Okay.
There was the time where I just like looked at Garrett and I was like, I'll be real on it. Because he was like, you keep suggesting we take out the trash and I'm the one that keeps doing it. Like, what's going on? And I just looked at him point blank and I was like, I'll be honest. I'm never going to. I never will. It was before marriage I told him that. So he didn't have that heads up.
Divide and conquer. That's fair. But yeah, no, just the boxes are a nightmare. And I've been vocal about this in the past as well, but at my house the tendency is for just like boxes with all of the paper and whatever plastic materials just gets thrown in the garage like that. So there's this belief that the box fairy will come and just sort everything automatically, and that's like me once a week. I'm spending 30 to 45 minutes just like trying to unfuck all the box situation.
I will pat myself on the back. I typically take the boxes and I just shove them in the dining room, which is right next to the back door. And so there's just a big ever-growing pile of open boxes full of shit staring at you from there. Garrett finds it to be somewhat passive-aggressive. I don't know where else to put them. But I did get Garrett a electric box cutter. I thought that was a nice thing.
It's like
after
him
he
giving
was
you
complaining
like
about
a
it.
sandwich maker or something.
Yeah. But okay, I'll go one step further. Although I refuse to take out trash bags to the trash cans, I like fire. I'm someone who used to burn matches a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I've just been burning these fucking boxes. Like
in your
he
fireplace?
said, no, we've got a fire pit outside.
Oh.
And so he like mentioned a couple times like the boxes recently, and there have been a lot of them. And so I thought it would be helpful, and I've just started burning boxes, and it's very soothing, and I like watching them, catch flame. So we've actually had very few boxes in my house this season because I've been very on top of burning any cardboard that makes its way towards that area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the main thing is just making sure that the plastics don't get in with the boxes.
Yeah, I think like the ink and the tape and all that stuff, like you want to be a distance away from inhaling that.
Sometimes I say when the boxes are ready, I'll burn them, which means when the plastic's all removed from them and like they're ready to be burned.
They need to be prepped.
Yeah, I'm like the man
by
on
the box
Thanksgiving
fairy.
that says when the turkey's ready to go in the oven, I'll put it in.
Yep,
but
there you
like
go.
doesn't do the actual work.
Yeah.
That's me.
Good. All right, what's yours?
Crowds. Everything's crowded. Everywhere is crowded. There's crowds everywhere. People are like going shopping and doing things, and that's great that you're doing things, but everywhere is always more crowded, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to a grocery store in the month of December. I don't want to go somewhere that has shops in the month of December. There's just too many people. Mm-hmm. And I don't like it.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. I don't ever go shopping, so I can't relate with that one, but
it used to be fun. I remember there was a time where it was fun.
Yeah.
It's like a faint memory, but it used to be fun.
Do people used to have time to go shopping? I guess maybe some people still do, but I hardly have time to go to the grocery store, and I love grocery shopping. That's the one type of shopping that I enjoy, and I find like it's tough to find 20 minutes in a week.
What makes me salty in like the most privileged way is that I work from home and so does Garrett, and so I think like, hey, if I go to the grocery store at 11 a.m. on a Thursday, that should be primo time-o to go, and it's still fucking crowded. So that's annoying. And I also
that
think
changes when you move to the burbs. I will say,
yeah,
you go to Sprouts on a 11 a.m., there's going to be like 8 people there, to the point where there's really not anyone working there, so the line to check out is still as long. But
fair. Yeah, I don't know. Crowds.
Yeah.
I don't like them. My second one is putting everything away.
Yeah.
There's so much decor and festivity and joy and all the fun stuff, and it looks all pretty and it's all nice, and then one day passes and everything's suddenly done and you have to put all of it away.
Yep.
And the magic's gone and everyone's over it, and it's just like, remember this Christmas spirit we were in 3 days ago? Where has it gone? And that's how December 26th and 27th and 28th feel like in my brain. So putting it away, I don't like to do that.
Yeah. I have no part of the decoration responsibility, so you can see where the divide and conquer is at my household. But my next one is very much in that vein, which is putting up and taking down the Christmas lights. I have to be reminded at least 7 times before I'm actually going to get around to it. So I'll probably put the Christmas lights up December 18th or so, and then I'll take it down February 3rd. Like, I'm a little bit on the late side with it. The whole process of getting on a ladder and then digging through the garage as to where all this stuff is. I like looking at Christmas lights. I don't like dealing with them.
I don't have any experience with these. It's just an ad that I've heard so frequently, and I've seen them in the wild, and they look great, but you should look up jellyfish lights. Basically, it's a company that, like, puts these lights up on your house, but they're, like, permanent, and you can change the colors based on, like, what season or holiday you're celebrating, and you can change which ones turn on and don't. So, like, on a non-holiday month, you could just have the corners of the house be lit as, like,
Jellyfish
surveillance.
Don't want to give them a free ad, but I guess we are. But no.
There's a lot of companies that do it. It's not just them. That's
Sure.
just the name I recognize from the ads.
I am 100% going to check this out.
You should. It looks really good. There's a house near Garrett's parents that have
Yeah.
like them or a competitor, and it looks impeccable.
Yeah, I like that. And the fact, because you go from Halloween decor straight to Christmas decor. So, like,
Change it from orange to red and green.
yeah, a little 4th of July, red, white, and blue in July.
Exactly.
That's fun.
Yep.
Nice. Okay, I'll check that out. My last one is, what am I going to go with here? I'm sure I've said this on the podcast as well, but I have a particular beef with Christmas cards.
Why?
You
just had such lovely family photos taken.
I know. I don't like spending $200 to send something to somebody that's going to be on their, like, shelf for 10 days and then get recycled. It just seems like, I'm sure I've said this, can I send you an email, or there's got to be another way to maybe get like
send a Christmas email. No.
There's got to be another way where we're not just creating useless paper, spending the money, and then this is something that exists for a week and a half.
Not always. You're just comparing it to what you do.
Do you keep Christmas cards for longer than that?
I am still a child in my mind, so I'm not of the age where I have a house where I would keep Christmas cards.
Oh yeah, it happens like shortly after the weddings and kids.
I will say, as a kid, being in a house that received Christmas cards, it was fun to see people's kids get older over the years, especially like, I mean, I didn't know half of them. It was like my parents' coworkers, but I'd be like, oh, that kid was in that bucket, and now they're standing up. That's cool.
I do feel a dichotomy because I enjoy receiving the Christmas cards, but there's just got to be another way. This is we're just going to plug businesses, but maybe like there's a way to sync it up to someone's Aura frame or something like that, or like seasonally can rotate.
That's so impersonal.
Well, it's still in a frame.
And just don't send me one at that point. Just don't fucking send one.
Why?
Because that's so impersonal.
It's going to be a picture displayed on your space the same way that a Christmas card would.
You're assuming I have an Aura frame.
Well, yeah, you'd have to obviously be linked into that system, but that doesn't conflict with it being impersonal.
Sure it does.
How?
Because I don't get to open it. You haven't hand signed it.
Oh, these are not hand signed. Well, these are printed from a service.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Christmas cards. I disagree with you there.
Okay.
I remember there was a time where I think my parents just like taped photos over photos when a new one would come. I think there was like a wall of them. I don't know how this was structured, but I remember on the side of the cabinet there was a wall of photos from Christmas cards, and I remember seeing Nikki, one of my maid of honors, on there and like laughing about how she looked in one photo versus a different one year, and like lifting it up to see her prior year. So I think there was a time where we like stacked them and left them up, at least the photos that came in them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess your kids just won't have that experience. So sad.
Yeah, they don't get to have it. No, we still participate in Christmas cards, but against my will.
Are you even doing any of the like labor there? What do you mean against your will?
But
are you collecting the addresses?
First of all,
are you uploading the images into a printing service to get them printed?
helping to finance it, which is a big part of it. And
I bet Jen is doing 100% of the mental load here.
yeah, she definitely is.
And you're complaining.
No, the part I'm complaining about is like this is just creating more paper trash that I think there's got to be a better solution.
You can't on one hand say that people won't love this, but I'm addicted to Amazon, and on the other hand be worried about the minuscule amount of paper trash that a Christmas card would have.
The problem is I have to have toothpaste to function in society. You don't have to have an image that you're putting on your shelf for 10 days. Like that's not a need to have, that's a want to have.
We're going to have to agree to disagree here.
Would you disagree with having to have toothpaste?
No, but I think there's many ways to get toothpaste. And I'm calling the kettle black here because I also have an Amazon addiction, but I am not going to all of a sudden be an eco warrior when it comes to the paper of a Christmas card. I think that some of your inner Grinch still shining through. We need a couple more Christmases to scrub that out.
Yeah. I think Aura Frames needs to take control of this one.
Yeah, well.
I don't even own one.
Yeah, I just got my parents one for Christmas. So, Dad, if you didn't listen to me and you're still listening to this, A, what the fuck? And B, congrats, you just spoiled Christmas. So, that's what you're getting. I just ordered it today.
Perfect.
Yeah. Great. My third one is working in sales. Sucks during the holidays.
I have to imagine there's no expectations this time of
There,
year.
absolutely there is. My quote is exactly the fucking same.
But I'm sure the people that are making the quotas are like, they're winking about it. They're just doing it to torment you.
Nope, that's not how sales works. Q4 is the end of the year. So not only do you have your normal quota, but you have your quarterly quota, which doesn't change either. And then on an annual scale, it's like, hey, did I go into Q4 or into month 12 pacing with what I should have been? If you're like me and you took a month off because you had a wedding and a honeymoon, probably not. So now you're not only paying attention to your quota for the month and for the quarter, but you're looking at your annual numbers and you're saying, ooh, and then you're calling people and they're like, oh yeah, call me back after the holidays. And it's like, great, would love to. Cool. It's a very stressful time. Very stressful time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No,
I mean, that's the, everyone knows sales is like that, but I would say Q4 is the worst month to be in sales.
Yeah.
And it just progressively gets worse.
I'm always shocked when someone responds to an email of mine during the last 2 weeks of the month.
Garrett had someone try to schedule a meeting with him on Thanksgiving last month. And the guy from the company that was trying to schedule the meetings, manager was on the email thread, and the manager replied to the guy and was like, dude, don't make Garrett work on Thanksgiving. What the fuck?
That had to have been an honest mistake, right? Like
no.
You just saw that they didn't have an appointment on a
The
Thursday.
guy replied and was like, oh, I saw his calendar wasn't blocked off. And it's like, I didn't know I had to block my calendar off on a national, like, holiday.
Yeah.
You know, like, cringe.
I've been guilty of scheduling stuff on holidays, but that's just out of ignorance of not even, like, considering what the day is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think quotas for Q4 should be halved because you're realistically working half the time. Like, there's only 2 good weeks in November, and there's only 2 good weeks in December when you take into account the holidays and the way that you're going to just mentally check out leading up to them. But alas, that's not the way the world works. So this falls on my triple crown of worst parts of the holidays, and that's employment.
Fair.
In sales, specifically.
Cool. Let's jump. We have a listener voicemail. It's been a hot minute.
Ooh.
Hi, Rachel here, aka Listener of the Year. I'm caught up on episodes. Oh my gosh, I'm not like months and months behind, and I have a couple things to say about the most recent episode. So, shingles and chickenpox are actually part of the herpes virus family, if you didn't know, along with things like mono and Epstein-Barr virus. And what you're looking for, the word, Chaunce, about your vaccine record as a child is called an immunization record. Sorry that your wedding venue was such a nightmare to work with. That sucks so bad. I'm getting married next year and I didn't know what I was doing, so I went with a venue that provided wedding planning, day of coordination, and a beautiful binder with all the things I need to do and when, which has been lovely. And lastly, Mary Queen of Scots is amazing. If you have not been to Scotland, I highly recommend going to Edinburgh and going to Holyrood Palace, where she lived, and you can still see in person the bloodstain of when Rizzio, her secretary, was stabbed 57 times in the 1600s. That's when she was alive.
They cover that in
I
rain.
would send you pictures, but sadly you could not take pictures inside. And I bought the little pamphlet thing, which also didn't have pictures of it. So you'll have to go. It's incredible. Scotland and Ireland are amazing. Highly recommend going. That's all.
Love the voicemail. Love that it felt like to me, not you, because she was commenting on all my things. I love Mary Queen of Scots, and I do know about that. They covered that in Rain, which is a great show if anyone wants to watch one. And I've been to Edinburgh, however you say it. I've been to Glasgow, and I've been to, what's the third one? Aberdeen. I had a friend I worked with at the camp in California who lived over there, so I went and stayed with her for a few days, and we did those 3. But I agree, I should go back, and I haven't spent time in Ireland, so I do need to make a trip. Twist my arm. Thanks for the voicemail.
5-star review. Actually, I'm gonna skip this one because I'm pretty confident we read this one in a different episode recently. So I'll just remind you guys, head on over to Apple Podcasts, leave us any number of stars, just not 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Surely an episode that I wasn't on.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't recognize it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And screenshot your review. Send us a note at podcast@thetrek.co, and we will send you a sticker. I've got a couple going out this week, so falling behind there. Big thank you to our Chuck Norris Award winners on Patreon. That is Alex and Misty with Navigators Crafting, Alex Kindle, Andrew, Austin McDaniel, Bill Jensen, Brad and Blair from 13 Adventures, Brian Alsop,
Tables.
Carl Lobster Hood, Christopher Marshburn, Clint Sittler, Coach from Marine Outdoors, Eric Casper,
The Friendly Ghost.
Eric Hoffman, Ethan Harwell Dunn, Jillian Daniels, Greg Knight, Greg Martin, Griffin Hey, Would You Bring Me a Beer, Haley Buckingham,
Dallas.
Jason Kaiser, Kristen Bell, the Kristen Bell, Matt from Gilbert, Arizona, Patrick Ciancialo, Randy Sutherland, Rebecca Braveheart, Rural Juror, Sawyer Product Spam, the St. Louis Shaman, Timothy Hahn,
Solo.
and Tracy Trigger. Thanks to our guy, Paulie at Old Man Murph's Coffee Roasters. Go to ommcr.com. Get yourself some delicious beans. You can follow us at Backpacker Radio on Instagram and TikTok, at Backpacker Pod on X, Facebook.com/Backpacker Radio. You can follow Chaunce.
You can find me on Instagram at Juliana_Chauncey, or on YouTube at Juliana Chauncey, or you can get my book, Hiking from Home, a long distance hiking guide for family and friends, in a sweet little holiday bundle with Zach's Appalachian Trials or Pacific Crest Trials, your pick, on thetrek.co. Ever been?
I think we have to personalize. I got a note for personalization. I wasn't sure if it was a package one or just one of mine. So reminded me to take a look at that before we get started here. Subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on YouTube.
Hi, Internet.
And that is it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening, and happy hiking.
Bye.